Welcome to Subcreation. I'm Nathan. I'm an artist and a designer, and I am working on an app tonight. It's been a while since I've been on, so let me know if the audio isn't working right or if anything else is off. I'll probably be a little bit rusty. So I'm going to start out by pulling up here. Let me switch over to, here's the view of my Mac. I'm going to be working over here tonight. Hi, Catlin. Welcome to the feed. Oh, reminds me, I was going to pull up the windows so I can see it. Let's see if I can pop this out right here. Nope, that's not going to work. Of course, I wouldn't expect it to work when I'm just getting it working at the last minute. Let me see if I can go to my window here. Go to Creator Dashboard and hold on. I'm just trying to get the feed up so I can see comments while I'm working. Yeah, so we're going to work on the native app for oh shoot, something's wrong with my window. Give me a second to fix that. Of course, everything always goes wrong when I rush to start. Let me just need to pull up my chat. See if I can pop it out here. Pop up. Nope, I don't seem to be able to pop out the chat. Oh, there it is, pop out. Okay. The UI is updated since I was here before. And there we go. Now I've got it over there so I can follow along there. Now I need to just fix something has definitely gone wrong with my oh, there we go. That's the window I want to be in. Okay, so what we're going to be working on is the native app for Artbreeder. And if you're not familiar with Artbreeder, I can pull that up here actually really quick. We'll be popping into this a few times tonight. Artbreeder, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. So this is Artbreeder. It's a generative adversarial network collaborative site that basically creates lots of art. This is my profile here. You can see some of my work here. And what so I did not develop Artbreeder. This is Joel Simon's project. It's been coming along really rapidly. There's a lot of functionality. It's here, and now there's even like a pricing model, so that hopefully the site will stay up and will work. And I just want to contribute anything I can because I love oh, that's the wrong screen. I love the project and I want to support it any way I can. So, how are you doing tonight, Catlin? Let's see, back to this. So, as a part of preparing for it, good to hear you're doing good. So, so you're familiar with Artbreeder. So what I want to capture here is sort of some of essentially starting with the mission statement, and then go into the design objectives. And the goal will be to basically make sure that all of the work that I'm doing, the designs, will be in support of those goals. So is the audio all right, Catlin? I don't know because I didn't test it. Here, I'm going to maybe start the music. Not this channel. This is a little annoying. Let's see if I can put it on something a little bit more chill. That sounds terrible. The chill station seems to have changed quite a bit. Anyway, so audio is fine. Okay, that's good to know. That is not very... Oh, ambient. That's what I wanted, not chill. Okay. So anyway, so this is the mission of Artbreeder taken from the webpage. Sort of shortened a little bit. But basically, the goal of the site is to empower creativity through collaboration and exploration. So obviously, I want to make sure anything I'm doing is in support of the mission of the project. But then I've selected two more specific design objectives that I think build on that and would help Artbreeder to sort of climb to greater heights in doing that. And so the first one I have is just optimizing a world-class native experience for it. So currently today, it's a really awesome website, and it works on mobile. It's very adaptive, so it's a good experience on mobile. I wouldn't say it isn't good, but there are things that you can do when you make a native app that are greater than there's a lot more potential with a native app. So I want to make sure that I do as much as I can with that. And then the other objective here is increasing activation and engagement with the community. So the idea is it's a part of that increasing collaboration. So it's definitely a way I can enhance the site. So I have a number of ideas that would be adding something new, that would be sort of experiments in the native app that might get added into the main site if they turned out to be successful. And not necessarily everything will get built in the native app. I will sort of experiment with concepts in the context of the native app, doing prototypes and stuff that may not end up actually in the site. So I've broken down the things I'm thinking about doing here into 3 essential stories, which are tag and share, work in batches, discover, be discovered, and engage, collaborate, and react with and receive rich feedback. So those are sort of the 3, calling them user stories. I had longer statements that are sort of stated in the user story model, where you say, users of the site can react and receive rich feedback, that sort of thing. But I've just got this sort of abbreviated here. And then is the music too loud? It seems a little loud here. If I turn it down here, it'll turn down. That's down there. Not sure about that though. Okay. So anyway, I broke down it. So you can see each of these. I have this where it says tag, discover, and react. So these are all ideas I came up with. I brainstormed with lots of ideas. I've been thinking of them and sort of collecting them in my notes. And I've got them here as under tag. I have this idea of sort of like a tag mode where you can sort of activate a tag, sort of like the way you activate private mode, but instead of activating making all your posts private, you'd be activating a tag, then you work within that tag, and then you turn it off. Another idea is to sort of merge the tagging feature with the like feature. So maybe you could have some emotes or something. So you could it'd be similar to how reactions work in Facebook, but instead of selecting from those emotions, those reactions, you would actually choose from a set of common tags, so that if you have one reaction you're always doing, that would be the active one, and you could just go through hitting everything with that reaction. So like, for example, if like some people are into kind of creating sort of like a particular aesthetic, maybe, anyway, I think that idea came across. I'll just keep going through these here. So also another idea is publishing to a tag. So idea would be that when you use a tag, you'd be pushing to a particular place. So that's more about creating a view where people can see what you're tagging. And then under discovers, the couple ideas there were around, and this is where I'm going to be starting tonight, I think, if we get around to coding. We're going to do some onboarding experience stuff. So if somebody installs the app, it's going to be everything in the experience up until you sign in. So people who do not yet have accounts aren't yet familiar with it can kind of get a taste of what Experience has to offer before you get into it. It's going to be largely based on what Joel has on the site today. It's just going to be optimized for mobile. And then also under Discover, I have the idea of doing sort of like a feature banner, within that feature banner doing like series or artist features. And the series would also be, I was thinking that tagging could be a way of creating series. So you might sort of combine the concept of creating galleries and making tags, and then also sharing those in features. And then let's see, what we've got here is the idea of essentially doing like prompts or challenges to the community to engage people. So all these ideas under this list here are similar to things I did when I worked at Amazon. I worked on a community site for authors, which was called Write On. If you go to my website, nathanrobertson.com, I've got in my portfolio, I have a feature of the work I did on that, and that was our primary goal there, was increase engagement in the community, and the primary drivers had a lot of success in engaging and activating community members essentially through that, by implementing a feature banner, by featuring artists and featuring genres, and then we had this story prompts that would happen every week, and that was one of the big drivers of engagement. And then so the last one that I have here is React. I think some of these, like these, you can see like the merge tag / like is already the idea from tagging before, but the other idea was to explore other like emotion reactions more in line with the way it works with Facebook's reaction feature, except in this case the set of options I had in mind are emotions, because I think art is more about conveying an experience you had and an emotion than it is, like you wouldn't want to express anger, or the reactions you wouldn't have I don't think they'd quite be the same as on a social network. So I was thinking things that were more around the emotion, but it'd be tricky if people didn't use it quite the way it's intended. People aren't identifying the emotion they're feeling in it. It may not have the effect I'm imagining, but anyway, that's the those are the ideas I have there. And then after that, I've got a couple more slides here that are just content I was trying to queue up for when we get to the coding portion at the end. Although I think I have the file. I've already started a file with this stuff in it, so I may not need that. But let's switch over here to Figma. So I've been working in Figma a lot during my day job. I've been contracting at Microsoft, and everything is done in Figma there now. So I've been learning Figma, and it's a pretty nice tool. I'm using it instead of Sketch. Sketch started crashing on me recently because I think it's due to up the license. So now I'm just going to work in this. So I have a couple of ideas to develop here. Actually, I just remembered that I needed to copy in one more thing into this. Actually, to give you a little bit of background of what I'm doing here, just so you understand the context of what the process. Because this channel is supposed to be about creative process and how you go about creating things. And so an important part of the creative process is gathering things. So ideas are connections between different things, and so an important part of the creative process is to collect things in order to connect them. So that's what I'm doing here. I went out and collected a number of things of icons. So I'm designing the app icon for Artbreeder. I'm trying to collect things that will inspire the design of the app icon. And I had already started before. Sometimes before I jump into doing gathering, if I have a picture, an image in my head, a vision that I want to do, I will start out by capturing that to the best of my ability so that I have, because before you start getting inspiration and impressions and different ideas, it's best, if you have an idea, that you kind of capture that in its pure form, like whatever it is that's already in your head before you lose it. Basically, the principle is anytime that you have an idea, anytime that an idea occurs to you, you want to capture that right away. You definitely don't want other ideas and outside influences to interfere with that. So that's what I'm doing here. Is I captured these sketches and I posted them as soon as they occurred to me. And the ideas, I'll zoom in here so you can see what it is. I started out with the idea of the dog flower. So the dog flower is a very iconic image that people have done a lot of iterations on. I think it was used in an album cover. Somebody had created a dog flower that was used in a album cover for a band, and so there's a whole thing about dog flowers on Artbreeder. And see, if we scroll down here, you'll see these are some of the things I've been making recently. If you go down far enough, you're gonna see I did a bunch of dog flowers. These are my dog flowers. And let's see, I think maybe the fastest way to get to the dog flower would be to go into one of my dog flowers and pull up the image lineage, and I'm pretty sure that this is probably derived from the infamous dog flower. Let's see, these are all my dog flowers. There must be an earlier one. I don't know how that happened. There doesn't seem to be. All the dog flowers I'm finding right now are just ones I made. It seems like there's a limit to the history. Either that or the original dog flowers gone private, maybe? I don't know. What I could do is go to my profile, go to starred. If I go back far enough, I'll find the dog flower. You can see there's, I like a lot of stuff though, so let's see. That might be derived from a dog flower, but I'm gonna keep going. Let's see if I can find the dog flower. Come on. Boy, I've been doing a lot of art breeding. These are some of mine. I kind of wish the light would. Oh, here we go. This one. No, that's also derived from one of mine. I'm looking for is the original dog flower, a very famous dog flower that I want to show you. Let's see, lots and lots of stuff. Scrolling. I think I'm getting closer. All right, maybe not. Maybe the dog flower goes too far back. Oh, Tikiwa, welcome. Cloud Rainbow, hey. Oh wow, it's a raid. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the raid, Tikiwa. It's really great to have you guys here. Kit Slam. Hi, Isais. It's good to see you. Yeah, it has been a long time. I took a long break unexpectedly. Well, thanks for joining. I'm working on oh, thanks for the follow, King Nolly. Yeah, I miss you guys too, Lulu. So what I'm working on tonight is an app design. I'm designing the app for Artbreeder. You might have seen Artbreeder if you caught some of my late streams last spring. I was doing some work with Artbreeder then. I think Tikiwall got on there. I still follow you on there. Ignore the crying emotes. So what I'm currently working on is I'm designing the native app for Artbreeder. Artbreeder is a website, and there isn't currently a native app. I'm going to develop one for iOS, and I've been designing it, doing some prototypes up until now. I've been just doing that on my own and posting it to, there's a Discord where I'm posting the work as I make progress. Does it breed art? Yes, that's exactly what it does, Cloud9 Rainbow. I can show you really quick how it works. I was trying to find, let's see, I can go to the section. This is take you to the section where I have those created and starred. This is essentially like the gallery of work that I've been doing. This is all art that I didn't render this, I didn't make it directly. What I do is sort of explore the work that is essentially generative adversarial networks. Essentially, they've written computer programs that sort of model the way humans learn, and then they pair off two of them to create art. So one of them, they're basically like two personalities, like two thought processes that work similar to the way our brains work and the way that we learn. And what they're trained to do, one is trained to try to generate art, to try to create something, and the other is the critic. Its job is to discriminate. It's called a discriminator, and its job is to look at art and say, essentially, it's not trying to say whether the art is good or if it likes how it makes you feel. That essentially is my job as the art breeder. My role is to come in, see the work that they're doing, and sort of direct it, to tell it more of this, less of that. I can have different ways I can combine the art, but for the most part, I'm functioning as sort of a director, and these GANs are pairing off. But the discriminator's job is to decide whether or not an image is convincing. If it's essentially, the discriminator is trying to tell whether or not it was made by a human. It has been trained on human art, and it knows what human art should look like. And when the discriminator, or when the generator originally starts making art, it doesn't know, or when it starts making work, it's trying to create art that will fool the discriminator. So anyway, I could go on a long time talking about how the site works, but I'll just go on. The point is basically it creates a large variety of art that ranges from being very abstract to now it also does art that is portraits, which can range from being photoreal to being very stylized. You can transfer styles between images. So there's a lot of stuff there. It has this landscape mode, which seems to be the area where I get the most traction. Like Pokemon. Let's see. Is it breed art? Like Pokemon, yeah. Kind of, yeah. You can collect it all. There's a lot of it to collect anyway. So what is the purpose? Well, the purpose is like any art, to try to create something that inspires you and hopefully makes this world a more interesting, more creative, more beautiful place. Or not necessarily, not everyone's goal is beauty, but anyway, so this is the dog flower. This is what you guys came in. I was trying to show, I was trying to explain. So what I'm working on right now is I'm trying to design the app icon, the app icon that you'd see when you're in the when you're on the dashboard view of your phone. And so the goal, let's see, it's sort of like the random face generator, that you can have a reference picture that doesn't quite exist. Yeah, that's one thing that's interesting about it is, in most cases when you're doing portrait art, the goal is to capture a likeness of a real person. The relationship between the person and the art is really what the meaning of it. You're trying to capture that. And this is different. It's a little bit more like character design for video games. It's like entirely fictional. You're trying to make up people who don't exist. So yeah, it doesn't quite have the same meaning as real portrait art. It's going to put artists out of business. That is an interesting. I don't think it'll put artists out of business more than like Photoshop. or like photography, right? When photography first came out, that was a big fear. Artists were busy, but I think there's going to be a place for both, and I think artists who leverage it can, can sort of expand their capacity to create lots of art and explore different styles. But yeah, that's always the concern with new stuff. But yeah, I'm pretty into it. I don't see it. I can see how it's kind of scary. Some people find it, and actually that's one thing that's tricky about it is it's very the aesthetics it can create. I'm usually trying to go for beauty. In the case of the dog flower, it's different. It's kind of like a meme or something. I don't know. It's a kind of bizarre thing. So it's a little bit more like a shock value type art, I guess. But in my case, I'm usually going for, if you look at my other stuff, some of the stuff is a little edgy there, but I'm usually going for beauty. My goal usually is to create beautiful art. Like in this case, I'm trying to create something that's either beautiful or conveys a feeling that I identify with. So, but the dog flower is sort of a meme, a concept in the space that I wanted to capture for this. So these are different versions of the dog flower, and this is the sketch that I did of a dog flower because I'm trying to create, more. I don't want to use a photograph as an icon. I want it to be abstracted. Yeah, thanks. So I started with sort of a more realistic portrayal of this is really what is sort of like the classic dog flower. There's somebody who made an original, what I call the original dog flower. It was used as an album cover. I've done lots of variations on the dog flower. I've seen other people do lots of variations on it, but this is the one that I think is the definitive dog flower. So I started out with that one. I was trying to make it more geometric, more simplified, more iconic. And I think I got a little bit closer there, but it's still a little bit illustrated, I guess is the term I'm looking for. And then I went down here and I decided to really get more abstract with it. So this one down here in the lower right, when I've done, actually I should have, well, I've already called your attention to it, so it won't make a difference. But it would be nice to know which one you guys think is the strongest. I've mostly heard from people, when I've asked people who aren't art reader users, I've mostly gotten this as the one that they think is the best. But for people who actually are familiar with the dog flower icon, I think, or the meme of the dog flower, I think this one resonates a little bit more because it actually has more of the feeling, the character of it. I mean, yeah, the last one looks like an app. But I was gonna say I like the third one. Oh, so this one, yeah, it kind of looks like a Scotty dog, doesn't it? I thought that was kind of funny. It almost reminds me a little bit of a what do you call it? Like the Jetsons, whatever they, the Hanna-Barbera. A little bit reminds me of that kind of like Hanna-Barbera style. Oh no, the first page. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. So you're liking the one that's probably the most iconic of the illustrated style. I see. Yeah. Yeah, that one is pretty good. I might give that some more effort too, because there was some interesting balance and geometry to this. The kind of way he's sort of waving is kind of cute. Yeah, the hexagon shape really was in the original. I wish I could have found the original because it really seemed to have that hexagon. This is kind of it right here, but it did have these slight corners to it. And it also appears to have a little bit of like that smile like that. It does appear to have a little bit of a sort of coy teddy bear smile. But I think this was the one that somebody told me they thought was the closest to it there. The thing about this one over here on the right, which is what most people I showed it to in person picked, is that it's really a knockoff of the Photos app, which I have over here. It's basically this thing with eyes and a nose. But you know, I think it was Pablo Picasso who said, what is it? Good artists borrow and great artists steal. I think actually all art is about building on like what's out there. So thanks, Cloud9 Rainbow. Appreciate the encouragement. Tikiwa. JJJ Joel. Oh, Joel, welcome. Is JJJ Joel? Is that Joel Simon? Hi. Okay, it is Joel. So Joel is the creator of Artbreeder. This is his project, his site, and so I'm very happy that you joined. Let's see. We need a speed cubing session soon. Okay, I will do that. Let me know if you're getting antsy or about to go. I'll try to throw it in. But while I have Joel here, I did want to really quickly run over these points here of some of the ideas. I won't spend too much time on it because I did read through it earlier, and so I can maybe share this with you. But essentially, went to the kitchen. What'd you miss? I've been just explaining the background of the app I'm making, what a dog flower is, and why I'm making a dog flower icon, and talking about the why. And then what you missed was that Joel Simon, the creator of Artbreeder, someone called today the AI overlords of Artbreeder. He joined us, and welcome Joel. I just want to show you really quickly. I did a little bit of trying to find sort of the principles and the why behind the work I'm trying to do right now, and it'd be cool to get your take on it. This I kind of pulled from what you have on the site there, Joel, empowering creativity through collaboration and exploration. And then I broke that down into 2 design objectives. So this stream is about creative process and how to create and design things, and so building on having sort of principles and objectives stated clearly at the beginning of your work is one of the things that we do as designers. So the first design objective I have here is just very straightforward: optimizing a world-class native experience for Artbreeder. Let's see, Lucy said, wait, what does that mean? Clue. Dog flower sounds great already. Yeah, dog flower is awesome. Somebody was saying today that I think of Artbreeder as being kind of a like a window into alternative universes, and we were talking about what kind of things are common in those universes that we can see. And somebody said that there's sort of another infamous thing like dog flower is what we call gas mask gorilla. And we think that the gas mask gorillas are tending and taking care of the dog flowers. So anyway, the major design objective, the most fundamental one, sort of like the table stakes for this app, are to create a really world-class native experience for Artbreeder. And then the second objective, and this is really building on top of the mission of the site, is to increase activation of users and engagement within the community. So I've come up with some user stories and some ideas that will, I hope, help achieve those objectives, and if we achieve those objectives, fulfill the mission of the site. You like it? Okay, cool. Yeah, so we've talked a little bit on before, so I think you were talking about having tagging. I was thinking of connecting tagging with sharing work in batches, and then around discovery, trying to increase discovery, help people to get discovered, and enhance engagement and collaboration. And then also I thought we'd maybe do some exploration around reacting to posts and receiving richer feedback. And so I've broken these down into some more specific ideas, which I won't go over in so much detail now, but we can pull from these as we continue. As we get into, there'll be like maybe sort of a wireframing session later on. But yeah, this is the dog flower, and These are the sketches which I've posted. Joel's seen these. And so what I was saying earlier about the creative process is ideas, basically the place where ideas come from essentially is ideas come from other ideas. You take any collection of discrete things, you take two things that are unrelated and connect them, you put them together, and that's where that's a new idea. So that's why oftentimes art is iterative and builds on other people's work. And so I always start any effort that I'm doing by collecting and gathering things, forms of inspiration, things that I can try to like reach the bar of. Like I chose, especially these apps over here, these app icons here are extremely minimal. They're all created by Apple. I feel like they set a very high bar for how simple an icon should be, and how very directly they sort of convey their meaning. The photo one's a little bit more abstract. I think it was kind of flower. And that's the one that I really already started incorporating the design over here. You can see I just put eyes and nose on it, and it's dog flower. I definitely want to explore that. I want to explore different variations on that. And so I want to have this here as reference, so I can, not only so I can riff off of it, but also so I can make sure I don't just directly copy it. Like when if you don't look and have these other references, you know, like now I can see it and think about ways that I could vary this up. So I've got some other ones that I found. I did some searches online, and really the concepts I'm thinking about working with, there are two potential concepts right now. The one I've sketched, I've started on is the dog flower, and then the other one is someone on Discord. I'm forgetting who. I should probably pull that up so I can see. They were going to be here tonight, so let me know if you're here. Who was in the UI design channel? Not Curvo. Watercolor AI. So Watercolor AI had done some work. Actually, I should pull that too on here. Had done this. I'm going to pull this now. I'm going to go ahead and copy this image, and I'm going to paste it into here. There we go. So that's the other concept, is one that is a tree. So this is a little detailed. I'm going to maybe try to take this. I'm going to take this concept and try to maybe reduce some of the branches. But I like the idea of the tree with the branches as well as the roots, and I want to explore that because that's very conceptually Artbreeder is about these sort of. If you saw, let's see, where was it? When I was here, if you go into an image, there's this lineage control that comes up here, and you can actually explore and see all the different images that were combined to create a particular image. So you can see that a tree structure really is a part of the concept of how Ganbreeder works. I'm going to go ahead and put a window of that behind that so we can see it a little bit better. I'm going to pull up the colors. All right. So that's that. And so then this is also the template. So I'm basically just going to start exploring designs on here. And if anyone has any ideas or anything you want me to try or check out, I'd love to iterate and collaborate on what we can come up with together. I'm going to start here, I think, with the rectangle. I'm going to start with sort of the simplest thing. Usually it's best to kind of get out the most obvious ideas first. And so I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm going to start with a version that's very close to this one. Gonna make it black. See, Lulu said, "Oh, this is where puppies come from." Yeah, that's right. We grow them in a garden. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this to like 30% so I can see it. I'm not actually planning on using these colors. I'm just I'm just starting with these colors so I can sort of see what it would be like. So what I want to do is this template. This is provided by Apple, and it's pretty good for being able to see these shapes. If you look at their icons, they're all based on this. So this, if you respect these guides, which are probably, I would assume, are based on things like the Golden Rule. It'll help you to create designs that are visually appealing. All right, and now I just need to. There we go. So you can see this is very much the same. This is not original enough at this point, but I thought I would just try starting with the same shape. And I thought maybe just the same shape in different colors might be different enough. You don't know unless you try it. I don't think it will be different enough. But let me go ahead and try it. I was thinking of just, like, they have this whole rainbow gradient happening all the way around. But I'm thinking about doing something with maybe a common gradient. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't think it would do that. And that's not going to work. Let's see. I want to give everything the same gradient. Let's try linear instead. No, that's not going to work. Okay, I'm just going to go back to that for now. Let's see. If I look at the colors, what are the colors in the dog flower? Here, I'm going to rearrange these so I don't get everyone motion sick. Unfortunately, I don't have the original dog flower pulled up, but it's something like one of these, I think. This is not the original dog flower. Well, it's kind of good. Can't help but do a little bit of gambling when I see them. Oh, that one's interesting too. No, that is not it. So they're kind of white, white and then yellow. So I can try something. I might just start with making them completely white. So I'll try FFF. Here, I'll just try that, like the simplest possible thing, I guess. I'm going to, let's see, how did I do it over here? Did it on the intersections. Get that DD or 0. And then I'm going to, I think these are rounded rectangle for this one. Or maybe just a rectangle. No, I think it should be rounded. Okay, so that is pretty much the idea. Now that I've got essentially the geometry there, I might need to move it off of the center there and see. I don't know, what do you guys think? This guy is one of the originals. Let me see. We got a link. Oh, you found the original. Yeah, let me pull that up. Let's see, am I on Twitch? I'm not on Twitch. I'm gonna have to mute this for sure. It's gonna be way too loud. Alright, don't mute. No. Look at that. See, adorable. Okay, so you guys are able to check out. I guess you can pull that up yourself, but let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Channel. Oh, it's too late. I missed it here. So it was, all right, never mind. Obviously it's not gonna come up because I didn't have it up, but I could open it here. At least then I can see it. So oh, okay. That's one of the originals, huh? Is that the one that was used in the cover? That was like an album cover or something, I think. That's pretty awesome. SGC did that 9 months ago too. Wow. So that must have been on Gan Breeder. Okay, so my plan here is to. I'm thinking maybe I can combine these and add sort of a radial gradient to just that. So let me see if in Figma, if there's like a join. Oh, it doesn't. Let's see what happens if I choose. Nope. No. Oh, flatten maybe. Flatten. No. Maybe outline stroke. Okay, that seems to work. Let's see if that allows me to do radial. That might work. So what I wanted to do is make this. So following it the way that guy looks, thinking make it so it's kind of yellow on the outside and white on the inside. Got reversed. Maybe like this. I don't know. What do you guys think of that? Maybe it needs a little bit more color. As we head out this way. Let's see. So I don't know if this is original enough yet. It's still too much like the photo app. One thing I did want to try though to give it a little bit more character. Well, I've been just cleaning. I was in a museum display. Or he was in a museum display. Oh, okay, it was a museum display, not a album cover. It was really cool. Yeah, it's nice to hear people are actually getting Art Breeder art shown. There was something you said today about it's being sold, like as people are selling portraits in blockchain or something. That was a little surprising. I don't think I want that one to be. Actually, I'm going to change these to white. FFF, and go ahead with O. Let's see, here's museum this way. I like the direction it's going. Cool. Yeah, my plan is to just, I want to explore a few things, and I'll probably come back to this too. Try to, like I feel like in design, a lot of the work is to, sort of, without getting too attached to anything, keep creating and see what comes out. Eventually you'll sort of exhaust the space, but yeah, it's a little lame when people sell raw output without citing it at all. But I was expecting that. Yeah, I guess it is to be expected. Let's see. Why is this not? Oh, I guess you have to turn this here 10. There we go. Yeah, that was a little. Seems kind of cheap for them to do that. I'm gonna try to make sure it's about the same size. Yeah, it's about the same size. I think we want to make sure that it's off to the left, the way that is. Or it does kind of throw off the symmetry. I wonder if it would be better. I wonder if it's too much detail too. But the other thing I'm thinking is like just take these guys and put them dead center, and then make this dead center. and then it's going to be perfectly symmetrical. That does not seem perfectly symmetrical to me. Maybe it is, it doesn't seem to be. There we go. What do you think, better with being bisymmetrical versus asymmetrical? I'm not sure. It's almost weird that it's like it's just short of being, this would look super alien. But if we just put like one more here, it's like quad symmetrical. But then it doesn't look quite like a dog anymore. It's an alien of some kind. Alright, so that's one. The other thing I was thinking about doing is same idea, but a different number of leaves, right? Leaves. So let's try that. I'm gonna start. I think this time I might make it go all the way to the center, just to vary up one thing. I'm gonna go ahead and do that, but then I think what I'm gonna do now is, let's see if I can. I think it's possible to get access to these points. There it is. Is this the point? Yeah. Okay, so we can basically make this, I think, more into like a, whoa, that's a little strange. I'm sorry, I don't mean to lose track of what everyone's saying here. I like that it is clean enough to work as an icon, but also references the images. But I agree that it should evolve beyond resembling the photos icon. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I want, if it is when I use reference in my work, I kind of use that as a starting point, but I don't want it to just be that. It's just it's a one step in the iteration. I wonder if this is, that doesn't quite seem balanced enough. Let's see, if I put it there and I line it up here. That doesn't quite seem right. You know, maybe what I could do. Well, let's see. That's maybe better. Actually, what I really want is another like point here and here for it to become more leaf-like. Or petal-like, really, is the word I'm looking for. Petal-like. That's strange. That's kind of petal-like. It's not as symmetrical as I wanted, but sometimes it's best to just, let's see, actually, I'll just make these points more symmetrical. Sometimes it's better to not make it perfect and just keep going to see what the concept looks like before you invest too much time. One of the things in any creative effort is that you want to go fast enough that you don't become too invested in anything you're doing. You know, if I spent like a week on one icon like this, it'd be really hard to decide that wasn't the right one, or you know, if it wasn't panning out, I could get more discouraged. So that's what I'm trying to do, is kind of keep moving pretty fast and not get too. That's pretty petal-like though, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and make this black 50%, just so I can kind of see how it's developing. So let's see, some of the other ideas I have here is working with 3 instead of 4. So that's something we can try. On a basis, essentially, of 3 instead of 4. So I still want to respect these. Let's see, do I want to follow these guides? I guess I would go there like that. Some goes there like that. I don't know. That's maybe kind of strange. But let's see if I copy it, paste it, and rotate it. Okay, so that's sort of the same idea as this one, somewhat. Maybe it needs, that would still be 4. Okay, so no, I did that wrong. These need to be, oops. These two are going to need to be more like at a third, which I'm going to have to eyeball because they have this broken down by fourths, not thirds. And if this shape starts to look more symmetrical, that would mean that we probably have the angle correct. Or we have the angle I'm going for anyway. I guess nothing's ever correct in art or design. There's just let's see. Does that seem a little? There we go. Yeah, move that up there a bit. So how are you guys doing out there tonight? What have you been up to? Tell me about your days. Don't mean to just talk at you the whole time. Are you feeling much better, Joel? You're not feeling so hot. You said yesterday you had a fever or something. Okay, so it's interesting. It's got a bit of like a Star of David basis. This one, which makes it quite a bit different than that, and I think more flower-like. We could also try, let's see, I'm going to keep this. I'm going to go ahead and add, I'm going to group and make this maybe kind of a symbol so I can reuse it. So that's now a symbol. I'm just going to, not really be able to see it there. Oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, 1 day fever, I think. Slow start to today, but I managed to get a lot done on Artbreeder. Upgraded the big GAN server, so it's faster. That's great, because that was I think I like the general model the most. It's the most versatile, and you guys can't see my room, but I've got all of my work up on the wall here, and I definitely found I tend to keep and hang up and keep more of those. I've got some of the portraits over here, which for art it's not as useful as like decoration art, but I use it because I see it as being like a way to develop characters for stories, so it's part of my creative process. So working now on redoing all the portrait genes. Oh, it's like a retraining. You're gonna change it. Does that have to do with? I think people were talking today about. I think there was a discussion of the portrait genes and. In the bug channel today. Is that what you're working on? Yeah, I think I can improve that and add ethnicity and face direction. Oh, that would be cool. So we'll be getting new genes then. Oh, that is super exciting. Alright, so I'm going to move that down there. I'm heading to bed. It's great seeing you back on Twitch. Welcome back. Good night for now. Alright, good night. Lulu, thanks for joining us. I want to say good night to Lulu. Good night. Cool. So I may do the see, I could do the cube solve, but I actually, since I rearranged my room, I don't have the camera up above right now, so you'd be watching me do it down here. But if you're getting ready to jet TQ1, you want to see it, I can do the solve. I'm sure my time is down though, that's for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. See, how did I do it before? It was something like outline stroke, and then when I went to do radial, I got that's interesting. I might work with that. Let's see, what is the radial? It's gonna start with that. I'm going to take it in here to start recurring, and then I'm going to make this more of like we end up with too much of that in the center though when we do that. So maybe if I reverse it. It's interesting, not necessarily that much like the dog flower we know and love. I think it might be that it's maybe too simple, kind of sparse. Oops. Let me give this a shot again. Oh, I forgot. Let's see if I can. Oh, I see. I think I needed to take an extra step to get that. I need to bring this back up. So we also want to make sure we get a chance to explore some. I kind of make sure I take some time to explore the tree concept. So I'll do that next. We might mix it up though and do some app development and come back to this. Okay, so that, that's way more active. Oops, whoa. Something wrong there. There we go. That is a bit more psychedelic. Right, now I can turn these guys back on. What do you guys think about that? Obviously, I'm just iterating around sort of a small space right now. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and maybe not does it look with yellow? Oh yeah, let me see if I can get this. Let's see, so this needs to be flattened, I think was the first thing I did. Okay, yeah, flatten first and then outline stroke. And now if I go to adjust this to be radial. Yeah, now we have pretty good control. So I'm gonna go ahead and make that white out there. And I'll make this, or no, we want white on the inside. And I kind of like we did two tones there. Let's start with yellow. And then we go to let's see, we need a lot of that maybe. Let's see, go, it's the same. So this is still pretty, I haven't gone too far afield from the photo concept, so I feel like I'd have to do a lot more exploration before I thought I'd done it justice. But you can kind of see the idea. It does seem, it's definitely a lot more complexity than that, so I might. And I would like to try one like this where the petals are different sizes, so we get a little bit more of the character from the dog flower. Actually, isn't just radially symmetrical. It's if you look at the actual dog flower, it has ears, and that's kind of one thing that makes it interesting. And then also its petals. I think even in the original one, it looks a little bit like it's. Let me see. It looks a little bit like it's. Oh no, maybe not in that one. It's in one of the iterations. The one that I was thinking is being the original is derived from this one, I think. But it has. You can almost kind of see it. It looks almost like it has petals down there. Maybe it's just because of the stuff that's sort of the background. But okay, so that's that. But let me give this concept some work, because this was contributed. So what I was thinking of doing was starting with this like this, and then maybe just removing some of these and seeing if it was like what. Let's see. I'll just see if I can reduce the complexity and if it'll. Oh, this is a PNG. I forgot. So I guess I'll have to copy it. I have to draw over it. And I think instead of, I might just use here. I'm gonna sort of trace it, but I'm gonna just trace the insides so we get some more symmetrical branches. Let's see. That works. We go a little bit that way, like that. Give that a shot. Maybe that. There we go. And so we can see it. I'm going to make it gray, or make it white. No, gray. CCC. Let's go. Let's go to 5. No, we're gonna go really big here, like 20. I don't know, keeping these the same size may not work. But the idea, I'll just keep going and see what it goes. Oh, it's not going to remember the. How do I get it to no, it doesn't remember this. Maybe if I do this now. Nope, that's the background. Figma. Sometimes Figma is awesome, and sometimes it might just be a little bit different. Let's see if that works. Okay, so I think the idea would be to create this on one side and then duplicate on the other, but the key thing is that I kind of do these at the midpoints so we end up with half as many of them. So see how that works. That one. Let's see, you're gonna give this 20 again. This'll go a little bit faster once we get going, because it's gonna be duplicated across. So it seems like we got ways to go, but it's not as bad as it seems. And finally, I wonder if anybody knows of if there are any memes or anything that kind of goes along with the tree, that like there's the dog flower, maybe there's a tree related concept that I'm not familiar with in Gang Breeder that we could riff on here. Let's see, yeah, so that's so I don't know, this is feeling a lot more complex though. I'm not doing a good job of simplifying. I think this needs to kind of come up a bit. But I still have these things to finish. I don't know about this. Let's see, if I have, you know what, I'm going to try, see if I can copy these somehow and use them down there. I might make this a little bit more symmetrical and might make it go a little faster too. I seem to have lost, oh, I'm in the mode, there we go. So if I take this here, do that, there we go. This may not quite fit to the, well, we'll just keep going, see how it goes. That's one of the things about design, is you've got to be willing to try out things and see where they go. Seems a little, I don't know. But this needs to go down. I don't know, the symmetry is not really going to be there if I'm doing it like this, where I'm adjusting it, but alright. I think I'm going to, just one more and then well, let's see. Alright, so I did those two, now I have just this one, and then it'll essentially be done. Although there are these sub branches, it has to have at least one level of those, or that really doesn't really make sense. So give that a shot. Gonna give that a little bit more of a shot. There we go. Okay, so now I think if I just go along and make one additional of these, I think that will, let's see, this seems a little low. There we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna follow up here with these guys. So this one goes like that. Make that 20 and make this CC. Alright, and now this one here is gonna go just one like that. Two more, and then that'll be it. Okay. Oh, I didn't know that was. Oh, that was connected to the other one. Now I gotta make the brush one. No, okay. I guess I need to get out of there. Then I can make one. Make that 20. Alright, I think that's right. I don't think that one necessarily needs a second branch. But we do need them down here, I think. Up a bit, there we go. 60C. Oh, let's just go a little bit more. Wow, I expect that to do that. There we go, that's pretty close. What I want, and then one more here. There we go. Okay. So let's see if I take all of these and I can group them, make them a symbol, and I can flip them over here. How do I flip? Maybe you can't flip a symbol. I think maybe you can only flip a graphic. I thought that was in the framer. Where's the cubing at, bro? Oh, yeah, yep. I do have, when you were here before, did I have this? This is a new high speed. I think I did do this one a couple times. It's basically the, it's the Go Cube. And you hook it up to, it like that runs a timer and everything. So I'll start mixing this up. It doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to flip that the way it is. Give me 1 second to just finish this operation, and I think I will. Let's see if I can flip it now. Object. There it is, flip horizontal. we go. Alright, so now I can hide this and see where this is at. That part there is a little weird. I can fix that though. So what do you guys think of the, obviously the trunk is going to need more space for this to work. I could try copying this and then moving it around to get like a little bit more width there. Oops. I don't know. I like it conceptually, but I don't know if I'm feeling this visual for it. But in any case. I don't know about that. Okay, so the cube. I'd ask for guesses, but I know I'm going to terribly disappoint you, and I don't have a sketch to do for the person who guesses it. Oh, 15 seconds. Yeah, that has never happened. I used to have a magic trick where I could solve a Rubik's Cube. Actually, I still do have the magic trick, but where I solved a Rubik's Cube one-handed behind my back in under 10 seconds. But that's a magic trick. I can't do that for real. Okay, so I'd say it's pretty much mixed. I'm gonna pull up the timer. Do you have any other guesses? Because pretty much anybody else who guesses a number is going to be right over Tiki-Wa. Okay, so I'm just gonna run a stopwatch. So I think I get a few seconds. We're always giving you a moment to like competition rules. You inspect it for like 15 seconds or something. I'll go ahead and just go now. Let's see. That's not too bad. Okay, so I got the cross started. That's a start. Just trying to connect the corners now. Let's see, that didn't help. Yeah, I'm getting rusty. Okay. Alright, I got two of the edges. Oh, I lucked out and that one just happened to come together. Let's see, 55 seconds, so we're blowing away somebody's guess. Alright, now I just have one more. Oh no, I got the two levels. Okay, so let's see. No, that's not right. Alright, there we go. Looking on the last layer, I've got the top now. Just get these corners into place. And that's there. And we're done. Oh, stop. 1:47. That's one of my better times on here. That's surprising. 1:47. Wow. I guess it's one of those things that's kind of like beginner's luck, and if you stop for a while too long. Nice, thanks Joel. Yeah, Tiki-Wa's always giving me the hardest time here. Okay, so back to I'd say we made some good progress on the icon. I don't think we're there yet, but maybe somewhere between here and here. This one seems too complicated, and this one is not as too simple, but too simple, but too similar to that. So I don't know. I think I'll keep working out later, but right now I'm going to see what was the other work we had was to do some concepts here. How are we on time too? It's almost 10. I don't know how long you guys will be able to stick around, but I've got a couple other things. I was going to do some UX, some flows in here. So I'll go ahead and make a new. So I have some concepts here. Here we go, Arbiter concepts. I've shared these on Discord, so you're probably familiar with this. I was thinking of. So I was thinking about basically. Let's see. Let's go back to the ideas and the mission. I think the most straightforward thing is probably the onboarding pages and signed out trending view. So a good place to start with this would be to go to ArtBreeder and go to it's not in about, I don't think it's in the logged out view. So this is essentially the experience that we have today on the site that we would need in the app. So just like on the site, somebody lands here, they don't know, they may have seen something about it, may be kind of interested, but they may not totally know what ArtBreeder is yet. I guess essentially the onboarding experience has two parts to it. One is the app experience, the App Store experience. And then once you get into the App Store, there's the login experience. So this is essentially the equivalent to what you'd have in the logged out, the signed out experience in the app. So the way I was sort of grouping this or seeing this is that this section here, where it basically gives you the value proposition, is very similar to when you have an app and you start out with a paging experience, where it gives you, each one will have like an icon or an image and some text. I don't know if it would have this much text. I'm thinking about maybe trying to simplify it a bit, but essentially the idea is each page would be equivalent to these concepts, the marketing content that explains to you why you're here, and it's basically these points. That's radically easy, unique way to create, massively collaborative, infinitely inspiring. I'll probably just start with this content, but I was just thinking if I could get it a little bit more streamlined. And then there's a section on the about, but essentially once you get to the end of this, I think it would take you to, I don't know if this part here is if this is trending or if this is a different sort of a gallery. Let's see, if you choose view gallery, it takes you to trending, and I can see actually now I look at this that this is not the same content as this. This looks like it might be the random view. I would think that this is potentially the random view, or it might be. It looks actually a little bit more curated to me, so I wonder if there's like a because I noticed this one's showing up more often than usual. It's possible that this is like a specially curated subset of trending, so maybe that would be what we do. But I was thinking about basically just giving either the trended or the random view as the view in the app. It's essentially the same thing you'd see once you sign into it, but if you tap on it and try to do anything, it's going to take you to sign in, the options to sign in or create an account. So that's part of the experience. Let's see what we put visual saying there. There's takes us to 12 for the home page. I haven't updated in months. Okay, so it's a specially curated set, which does make sense. That might be preferable because it gives you a little bit more control and you don't have to worry about celebrity spam, or we have this problem where people get really into uploading celebrity photos, and it's not quite the same as the use case for Can Breeder. It feels kind of spammy. Let's see, what was I trying to find here? Let's see. Oh, I know, I had the App Store, or no, it's actually here. I have, on the Apple developer site, they just announced the top apps. And I was thinking that this would be a good reference for, because since my goal is to create a world-class experience. Yeah, good to be created. Yeah, I agree with that. Since the goal is to create a world-class experience, the bar that I'm picturing is actually this award. Every year, Apple does at WWDC, they have design awards that go out for apps that are published on the platform. And what I'd really love to do is get an app out there that I think would be in this category, potentially the trying to make it as an app of the year. So let's see. I guess they're done by platform. So this is the iPhone, this is iPad, this is TV, and this one is the desktop app. So if we look at the phone app and see what they made, this would be essentially the bar that we would be trying to reach. So this is the first step in your experience. Somebody sees the icon, which we're designing an icon, and name of the app. So this would be possibly our dog Flower with Art Breeder. Thanks. Yeah, I hope it's a very ambitious goal, but usually you shoot for the moon and well, I guess if you're shooting for the moon and you don't get to the moon, you're off in random space. So that might not be a good example, but anyway, so we have these but the goal is like shoot high and then hopefully you get pretty far. So essentially this what they're showing here, I think, is the equivalent of the onboarding experience I'm talking about, where you have a series of screens that explain what the app is when you first come into it. This is a little weird that they show the phone inside it. I guess it's because it's a phone, or theirs is a photo app, so maybe seeing it being used as a camera, it's a camera app basically. Maybe seeing it being used as a camera is part of what I'm trying to get across there. But what I'm going for, I think part of designing an app would be to start with, this is essentially your marketing, your brand promise to the customer. So starting with some version of what you want this to be before you build it makes sense, because then you know kind of what you've committed to, and then hopefully this experience gets better. Another good idea in designing an app is starting with essentially a mock review. So actually, I've used this method at the last job I had working on a bank app, where we wrote both a 5-star review, which is what we hope our customers, or aspiring for customers to experience in the product. So they'll, in the customer's own words, have them, this is fictional, but it's like we have a person describing how they feel about the experience, what the app does for them. And so that helps us sort of set a North Star of where we want our app to land. And then conversely, we also do like a 2-star rating, where you basically have somebody saying, you have a fictionalized person describing their bad experience with the app. And that's just sort of a way for us to kind of try to, not just have like a rosy North Star idea of what we think customers would experience and get kind of like fixate on that and thinking that we're delivering that when maybe that isn't it. But it's a way to sort of call out your concerns, your fears for how the app can fail. So you basically have a fictionalized person who hates the app describing why they think it's bad, and you try to address things there. And I would mock it up like this, so that you can sort of envision the future of this app before you start on it, so you don't spend a lot of time building something and then realize as soon as you built it that like, oh, actually anyone looking at this would give us the 2-star review or whatever. So that's the idea, I think, is to sort of set the bar here. My goal would be, I'm going to start building the app before I build all this. I kind of do it concurrently, but the idea would be to have the vision for the app captured as a mock-up of this page as we're building out the functionality of the app. So let's go ahead and start that. So I can do it right here because it's a part of this experience. I'm just going to copy this just to get the elements here. I mean to get basically the size of the window. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff in here still. I better clear that stuff out. And I'm going to name this onboarding. And so when somebody onboards to an app, they usually have essentially what you're going to have is this. They're going to have let me look at the. Sorry, I'm going to make everyone motion sick doing this too much. But we're going to go to Art Breeder, back to this page. It's going to be these 4 points, so we'll start with that. Let me get that out of the way so I can put between those a little easier. I'm going to start with these 4 things down here. I'm not worrying about the sizes or the visual treatment at all now. I think it's best to work in low fidelity to kind of get the idea out first. I've been kind of questioning that a bit at work because I found that some of the people I work with can get a lot more, they tend to do better when you design things at high fidelity first, but that can kind of also be a crutch too. So, and it also means that you invest the rule I was saying earlier about how you want to design as fast as you can so you can cover a lot of ground and get a lot of ideas out, and that you don't get too attached to anything in particular. So that's why you want to work in low fidelity. Working in high fidelity can derail things because you're not able to get many ideas out, and as you work on an idea at the high fidelity, you'll become more invested, and it'll be harder to accept if your idea is terrible, or just if it's not as good as it needs to be. Okay, so I've basically got this representing that there are, actually what I'm going to do is go with making the background this color. Oops. I'm going to make this background, let's see, this background that color. Okay, this is the one. Alright, I'm doing something wrong here. Okay, it's C4. Now I'm curious. There we go. Oh, that's the background of the page. I want the background of this page. There we go. And now I'm going to take these, I'm going to make them white. And I'm going to make these like 50% white. Maybe 50% is too much, so I'm going to take it down to 40%. Right, there we go. So that gives me basically, I'm not going to design them all out right now, but basically the idea is that we're going to have a large text, radically easy, would be what this will say. Also, another rule I like to follow is that you should always design with actual content first, because the content, the message, is intrinsically the idea. And if you don't work with, if you just put like lorem ipsum here, a lot of designers work with lorem ipsum. Sometimes it'll be easier to just fill everything out, you know, with lorem ipsum, or just lines represent text. I mean, that's fine if you need it just to work out for yourself, but if you're going to show it to somebody, if you're going to try to get such a judge and iterate on the idea, you need to be able to see it with its meaning intact. So let's go to 40s, maybe 35, maybe. I'm going to make this like 20. And go ahead and put this in there. Alright, let's But in any case, the idea is to explain the concept. You'd swipe through each of these, and then when you get to the end of that, I'm not going to design all of these icons right now, but I do want it to sort of make sense for the first one. Maybe I'll make this black. Seems a little hard to read right now. I don't know. But I was just thinking, right for now, I'm just going to kind of copy the image that's there. This is maybe kind of breaking from the whole working with meaning intact thing, because this icon doesn't necessarily make as much sense as the graphic I'm pulling from, but you kind of want to find that balance between being too exact, and let's take this up to like 5, 3, there we go. Let's flip this object, flip horizontal. And center that, and that, and that. There we go. Okay, so that's not what we'll quite necessarily actually be. I'd like to come up with maybe more symbolic images, or I might just use the images we have there from the start. Maybe just match the exact content we have there. But the idea is that, because it works really well what's on the site now, I just kind of want to see if I can, you know, pump up the marketing message a bit and simplify it maybe. Okay, so we'd have 4 of these, but I'm just gonna do like a ellipses for this, because I think you can kind of tell what the idea is. And then I'll make that like 90. And then the last one is going to be essentially, so this is browse trending, but it's going to be an assigned out state. So let's see what that would look like. Now I see this next to that. I wonder if I could just, yeah, that probably is a little bit better. I'm getting a little too into the details. But anyway, okay, so this wouldn't exist in this case because you wouldn't have notifications. You can't create. Oh, but you know, we could keep these things in place, and if you tap on it, we bring up sign up. But the other possibility would be that we just take everything out. We could give them these view controls, but there's not going to be a home. But they could access all. I don't know. Maybe we don't necessarily want to have a separate. What else could we do besides home? There's going to be no home. Anyway, what I'm thinking is this, and then have like a button at the bottom. Let's try that. Button at the bottom. I don't know if that's really the button style we would use. But I'm thinking a button at the bottom and text that says sign up. Let's see, there's sign up, there's going to be 2 buttons, 2 potential buttons, right? Actually, there's sign in or sign up. So I'll go ahead and do that. This is going to be 20, maybe 20-ish. Wait, what do we say on the site? What is start? Oh, start is register. Okay. And I like that the language on the previous page isn't the same. Sometimes it'll say sign up and it says sign up again. And I think that can be confusing. Here we have login. This one does do login. That's let's see. So I'm gonna go with sign up and sign in. Here we said start. Because this essentially we have view gallery. So what we could do is either give this view as if it's trending. Maybe that's pretty good. I think maybe I don't know, kind of question if let's see. Maybe what we could do is make it so maybe we have the curated view. I don't know if it makes sense the way I'm thinking of it, so maybe our version of home would be, or what we have for home would be the curated view, but we might also allow them to explore all view and trending. You know what? I think I'm gonna switch these around. So I think trending would be higher priority than that. Actually, I'd kind of like it if this was the order on the main page. I think I said this in the Discord event, so sorry if I'm sounding like a broken record, but I think that your following view is really the primary view. So it'd be kind of nice. I wonder if one of these should be primary. What do you do here? Ah, yeah, start is primary. So I think that will do this. Not that the visual treatment was, maybe there can be a way to set default. Because when you first sign on, you have the following. Oh, I see, that's what you were thinking, probably thinking about there. Yeah, but then also by not prioritizing it and orienting them to it, you're like reducing the need early on to try to follow more people. But maybe we could also flip it. I feel like the more that I use the site, the more I always am trying to get to the following view, and because it loads the trending view first, I'm forced to look at that, and sometimes I get distracted and forget what I was doing, and I'd rather that it just loaded following. By the way, is it possible to load music? Oh yeah, sorry, that's... Let me know if that's better. Yeah, I was asking earlier, I think there weren't enough people on here, but yeah, no problem. Let me know if that's still distracting. turn it down here. It doesn't seem like it's, oops, there we go. It's kind of loud here too. All right, so what I'm thinking, I don't know if this would still be there, but I was thinking of basically making it so, of course, I don't quite represent this here as much as it was supposed to be in the other prototype. The idea is, the reason why I'm thinking it's all right to spend this much space, to use this much space on these controls at the top, is because they essentially scroll away. So as you're scrolling down the page, this may stay in sort of like a reduced form here, but these are going to go away. I think maybe that it goes away too. Let's see. Of course, these proportions aren't necessarily right, but the idea is that you would, I'm going to scale this down so you get the sense that it's basically cropped at the top. The idea is as you're scrolling down through the page, you're only seeing the let's see, is that, there we go. So as you're scrolling down the page, you're going to be spending most of your time in a view where you primarily are seeing these posts, and you have to drill in to get to more details. Maybe as you're scrolling down, those go away. So as you're scrolling, those go away, but then when you stop, I'm gonna just try to make this look like it landed somewhere else, basically. Oops. So when you get to there, then these are going to appear again when you get to the bottom. So it's a little bit like, I don't know if Pinterest does this or no, it's, what's that site? Medium does this, where when you're scrolling and reading, you get like a very pure reading view. But then when you stop, or if you scroll back, maybe it is, then you get additional controls that are relevant. We might even bring back these controls when you stop. I don't know. I think it could just be that maybe just keep the title, and then if you tap at the top, it takes you back up. Like the Chrome header too. Yeah, does the Chrome header do that? Yeah, I think it does in on mobile. Let me see, I'm gonna give that a shot, see what it does. Okay, so I'm gonna open Chrome. Checking it out. It's loading. You go to Art Reader actually. Let's see, so if I go to View Gallery, not signed in here. Oh, another thing I need to explore, because this has been these what do you call it? Sort of like tabs at the top allow you to filter to just specific models, and that's something that I don't have in this design because I don't think it was in the site when I did this, so I have a little bit of catch up to do there. So yeah, the Chrome header. Yeah, the Chrome header is, when I scroll down, it gets small. If I tap on it, it expands, and so does the thing down below. So in that case, it actually remains invisible when you're when you're stopped too. Let me see if medium, what medium does. I was thinking about, because I thought the medium had kind of a, so medium has this the thing where you're scrolling down, and so like right now there's absolutely no, well, there's no Chrome at the top. There are options along the bottom. Actually, it never comes. Oh, it does. Okay, so yeah. So I'm scrolling down. You can see it a little bit right there, like it's white. But if I scroll back up, that bar just appeared. So it's like when it's down, it goes away. But when I go back up, it reappears. And then, let's see, then I can tap that and it'll take me back there. These options that are down here aren't actually app navigation. These are for liking the individual articles. So this is like a little bit different. Not a great analogy for it, but let me see. I need to pull up my, lost track of the, there we go. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for sort of outlining how onboarding could work. I'll go and add more detail to this later. But the idea basically is that there's this onboarding experience. Maybe I could really quickly comp up some of the smaller features. Actually, I know where I was. It was over here. I had the ideas. So tagging mode. There was this idea of having tagging mode basically similar to how private mode works. You could sort of like activate a tag, work, making a bunch of stuff, and then you could exit that tag, sort of like you exit private mode, and everything that was in that while you're tagging gets, or while you're working, while you're breeding, everything that was generated during that time gets the tag that you had active. So that's one idea, tag mode. Another idea would be having something sort of similar to how multi-selection works in the Photos app, where there's a select button, and when I tap select, I can tap a bunch of stuff. And then I'm thinking that once you have, it essentially just be your view, you hit select, and then you have a, let's see, like whatever action, in this case, I guess the actions appear along the bottom of the screen, so it'd be essentially your tags, your common tags are available, and there's maybe an ellipses, and then you can choose and it'll pull up a list and it'll apply all of them. So that is the other mode, or the other tagging feature, or the other way I was thinking that the tag might work. What could I sketch here really quick? The idea of pushing or publishing with a tag, really that's more about having a view that you can see all of the views per tag. So that's more about, currently you can search by tag. So really it would be more of a, like creating sort of a page where we sort of curate the best of tagged content, possibly, or just have a place where you can sort of preview or like see all of the tags, but with collections, see them as collections. Let's see. Oh, and then this other idea here in the middle of merging tag and liking. Basically that's saying, so I'm kind of picturing, so like right now the interaction in this view for liking that we landed on was double tapping. So maybe we could do something, when I say merge tag and like, I was thinking of basically an interaction where, so if you think of like the way reactions work on Facebook, there's one action where if you just do it, it does that, right? So maybe the most common tag is, you know, is like, or but then there are other ones that, you know, so let me just go ahead and sort of Like imagine if like double tap just gives you the default tag, which is like, and it would be an emote, so it would actually be the heart. So that's part of the idea, is thinking of sort of mixing emotes into tags, or emojis, I guess, is the concept. You use sort of like an emoji potentially as a tag. I don't know. But that it would actually work similar to the way the heart button currently works. So if you let's see, did I add heart? Yeah, here it is. I have one as a heart right here. So let me go ahead and add that here. So if you double tap one, you get that, right? But then the idea here, I'm gonna create this, separate this out so we can sort of explore this idea separately here. I need to rename these. So that's like if you double tap it, but if you press and hold, maybe we could array the tagging options like this. So assuming you're right-handed in this case, maybe you want them to array out this way, and you might have like heart, and then you might have what would be another one? Maybe we actually have like some kind of a dog flower icon, emote. I don't know. That's not really an emoji though. So what am I thinking here? What would emoji be? I guess they could be like the more common emojis, like a thumbs up. I'll just go with a thumbs up for now. Okay, you kind of get, that's kind of rough. I'll clean it up later, but I think you get the idea. So you've got like a thumbs up. You've got like, what would it be? What would be the icon for? Like some people are kind of, instead of trying to make, let's see. Let me look really quick. What are the, what do you get like on Facebook as reactions? Because maybe ones that sort of resemble those. I'm talking about sort of essentially merging reactions and tags. So I kind of want to have a couple of reactions, and then I want to show. So they've just got thumbs up, they've got heart, they've got laugh, and then wow, yeah. So those would be kind of like the key ones, right? So let me go ahead and just do those to make it kind of clear. This may be too abstract of a night, or too I don't know, sweeping of a concept, but that's part of the idea. You just with design, you just sort of explore things, you try different things, and they may be right or may not be right. It's okay to just see. So I'm going to go ahead and make this one like that. And give that one 50%. There we go. Seems like this corner here could go a little higher. Oh, that's about it. Okay. So, because this is more than one shape, I'm going to have to go ahead and go head back to here. All right, so I'm gonna. F2 is better for that. Yeah, for now it's fine. Let me group these. All right, I'm gonna do a version of this guy that is. So you can see I'm kind of making this like a radial menu that go around your fingers. I'm gonna try and make these a little bit closer together though, so I can fit. So what I want to do is, the idea is that even though these are appearing as icons, they're emojis and they're actually tags. Maybe that's flattening too much, but that's kind of, I want to explore this idea, because essentially it means that the way that you apply, you can, the one tap or like one interaction to apply a like or a react, any of these basic reactions, which would be icons, could also be used for applying common tags that you create yourself. You could use emotes. Anyway, let's see. Let me give it a shot. The other one I want, so this one I want to do as shock. Oops. 0. And like I said, I don't know if this works. I'm just trying it. I was working on a design like this with somebody at work. Something that was just kind of an out there thing to try, I was talking with somebody that seemed, I kind of really got the sense that they didn't think it was that the thing we're trying to do was possible. And I told them at one point, I said, well, you know, I can't promise that this idea works. I can just try to make it work. And as I kept working on it, eventually it became clear that the idea did work. But you know, in the course of exploring something, you don't know that, you know, so you have to be careful not to judge something in its abstract form. You've got to make it concrete for that to know what works. Okay, so there we go. We've got, so you got kind of like a this should be like a laughter. I really want to make sure that it seems like it's laughing. Okay. So these are some basic reactions, and boy, I've already really run out of space here. The idea is that you pressed and held here, and then you could like swipe up to select one of these, or just release and tap on them. So it's a classic radial menu. And then I'm thinking, like what? Let me look at. I gotta log back into Artbreeder. And if I go to my profile, so these are some of the things that we use. So abstract is one, you know, you probably would only be able to explain a concept. I mean, you could make an icon that explains that, but alien you could do with the alien emoji. So I'm not going to use that one right now because I want to include a couple of words, but that would probably be the one that I include there. But I could do abstract, and what else? Cave, chair, cat flower. See, I did a cat flower. Charcoal. A series of charcoal. So it's kind of cool how you can use it to like name a style. Okay, so try to pick ones that wouldn't work better as icons. I want them to be more abstract, so it's clear why they would show up as tags here. But you know, that might be too much to hope. I'll go with blue. I mean, blue could also be, you know, like a visual thing, but I'm just gonna go with abstract and blue as the examples, so hopefully it comes across there. So let's go with text that says abstract. I'm gonna make this smaller, but bold. And I'm gonna make this one here. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna make this as a symbol first. So what I'm picturing is, it should be like this. Give it a stroke. That's 52. You should also have rounded corners, but then this is the key part. Oops. There we go. Giving it that little tag bit, right? Now I can move this a little bit there. Okay, I'm going to make this into a group, and I'm going to make it a symbol. And now I have two symbols. I'm going to change this one to say blue. They just added a feature to be able to do more fluid layout, and I need to get up to speed on that, so might call the stream in a little bit so I can do that, but I did want to do a little bit of coding before I do this. So the idea, though, essentially is that you have tags, and then one of these, I don't know, maybe like this, but actually this one I'm gonna, I think, well, I'll just do it like this. Maybe I need to ungroup both of these. Well, there's no point of having a symbol I don't reuse, but anyway, this is the essential idea, is that this is like a radial list of reactions, and it mixes the use of a reaction of these emotes as reactions and text tags, but essentially under the hood I'm picturing that they would just be tags. So so that's kind of the idea, to be press and hold to get this. And what this really does, it's all about, oops, let me go up to here. It's basically all about trying to serve this goal of increasing activation and encouragement within or engagement within the community by basically enhancing the reactions and giving more, allowing people to receive more rich feedback. Because I feel like a part of the dopamine hit of using the site is when you go there. I always like when I go there, I see this little bit of purple right there. That tells me I've received some kind of appreciation. And it makes me feel like people care about what I'm doing. And then I come here and I see, oh, I've got a couple of followers, and I got somebody liked one of my posts. So that's the idea, is maybe if it was, you know, what I'm picturing is that this would then say, I guess I should mock this up too, but that this would essentially say Howie being, you know, how it's a maybe Howie being laughed with your image, or Howie being was surprised by your image. Maybe you just show the symbol because maybe you don't want to sort of characterize it necessarily. So yeah, I agree. Better feedback is really important. Maybe each person could have a certain account or a certain amount of kudos or something that they could give a day, weighted more than a heart. Yeah, so that was one thing. I don't know if you saw. I mentioned that in Discord. In Discord was also the idea of. I wasn't thinking of it necessarily for the likes, but I was thinking of it for uh, sort of like for essentially for liking your own posts, like having a. This might have been yesterday, so it might have been when you were sick that I was saying this, but what I was picturing was give people a certain number of credits. So this is a totally different feature, and I didn't capture this here, so I need to write this down or sketch it in some form. But what I'm picturing is that you have the ability to sort of promote your own post when you like it. And I mean, it's essentially what we're doing right now is you like a post. Let me go like profile. You like a post, and when you like your own post, it shows up here, and it shows up also in the all screen, right? So you go here, you go to all, and everything is showing up here. This isn't everything everybody creates. This is everything that everyone has liked of their own posts. Although I'm always surprised sometimes, like the variations here are pretty very little. So it seems like people are using like pretty indiscriminately. And what I was thinking of was essentially changing that and making it so that the like promotion is there's scarcity around it. So you'd have X number, maybe it's 100 a day, or maybe it's. But I was thinking it'd be it'd be specific to your subscriber level. So if you want more, you'd have to subscribe at a higher level. But it would be let's see what's Fantrosity. Let me see if I'm pronouncing your name right. Fantrosity. I think what needs to be split off is I like this, and I want to be able to find this later. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Welcome, Fantrosity. I didn't see you join. Thanks for jumping in to the stream and jumping in the conversation. If you share your name from Artbreeder or from Discord, I imagine you're probably somebody that we know there, but I don't recognize Fantrosity. It's always good to be able to connect the names. But yeah, that's definitely that's important. Let's see, in the reactions, I don't quite have that right. I guess what you're talking, so I know exactly what would be that here. I'm gonna scoot this over and make room for that because that's the most important thing. Yeah, like, share, and pin are kind of there. There are three. Tag is also that. Yeah, and I don't know if you're following what I was saying, because I know it is a little what's the word, unorthodox or whatever, but I was picturing this concept of these actually sort of implementing these as emotes. So basically reactions or emojis. So basically under the hood, these are all essentially just tags, but these tags are, emoji tags, and these ones are text. And so the idea would essentially be that they're all the same. You can kind of use the same mechanism to apply them in one tap, and that these would sort of order themselves potentially in this menu based on your most commonly used one. So if alien was the one you used the most, you might have alien as an emoji, and that would show up here. And you would be able to create that simply by tagging something with with the alien emoji. You wouldn't have to stick with a set that we choose, but you would be, of course, constrained to the emojis. I don't know if that is difficult to support. If emojis being supported in the tags would be hard, but that was sort of one idea here. Strange. I wonder why this one is. Anyway. But yeah, I think this is I want to get back to this later one. But the only thing is that it's not as then like the specificity. Like one of the things that's nice about social networks using the heart exclusively for both for sort of pinning or bookmarking something, as well as for sending appreciation to the receiver, is you get sort of the dual benefit that when somebody just wants to bookmark something, right? They don't care about the person on the other end. They're like me, grab. They're going and collecting all this stuff, but the system sort of innately says, if you grab this person's stuff, we're sending love to the person who made it, because we've made it a one-word thing that like love and bookmark are the same, and so it causes people to receive more appreciation for things that they don't necessarily. It just kind of gives you like this beneficial effect that may not necessarily be intended by the person who's sending it, but is definitely received that way. Because nobody ever gets a like and thinks, oh, they're just bookmarking it. They think, oh, this person likes my stuff. I think that is a good sort of not necessarily misinterpretation, but sort of forced reinterpretation of what's happening on the network. But but the other thing I was saying is that so what would happen if we would do this? One of the potential side effects of this is if we allow people to be more specific and what they're doing is bookmarking and not liking, then you'll start to see if people are, when you get this little hit of dopamine when somebody clicks here, instead of seeing so-and-so liked your image, so-and-so liked your image, your so-and-so, what I was thinking was that we would, it's possible you end up with potentially negative ones, and tagging could be used negatively. So there are potential downsides to this whole just extremely rich feedback. But if somebody's just saying, I bookmarked your stuff, and so it's just saying how we bookmarked your image, Ernie B bookmarked your image, you're going to start to feel more like people are taking things from you and less like they are appreciating your work. Yeah, I agreed. I had imagined it as a type of heart more than a type of tag. Right now, I don't notify if someone tags their image, but I would notify them if someone reacted. I don't think while react is something I would want to filter on in the future, like I would a tag. Yeah, that's a good point. I was kind of thinking of, wow. So I initially started with, in some of the notes I did before I put together that slide deck. Well, let's see what you're saying here. Just as long as I don't end up forced to share a bunch of my own images so that I can find the better variation of something I'm working on later. Oh, I see. That's why you're saying you want the separation of it. And currently, the merging of this forces you. Yeah, and you end up with really, it kind of discourages it. Either you're less likely to just send a like to appreciate something if you don't necessarily want it to get back to it. Although they're kind of the same thing there. But yeah, the point there, like what ends up happening a little bit is like for me, I like pretty indiscriminately, and so what happens is my starred view ends up being so long that I can't get through it. Of course, that's another problem to solve. Would be the whole making it so you can sort of scale this down and be able to zoom through a lot, or have it go by month. Have some, that's a separate design problem to solve. But the point, I want to use this later is different than I want to share this. I found a great solution to that. Yeah, the thing about tagging, the potential of tagging, I think, is people track tags on Twitter, and I used to be pretty active on Tumblr, and it had that where let's see, but that's what created feed is for too. But that's what created feed is for too. Yeah. What I was thinking is that if we used tagging as the means by which you share posts with people who have common interests. That would be an interesting way to be able to have more promotion of content on the feed and to connect people more. And that was what Tumblr used to do, where you would tag things, because when you tagged it, it showed up if people were tracking those tags. And then there was a small collection of essentially curated tags, where in addition to this like all feed of people posting things with tags, like anyone could just say, oh, my tag is about such and such, like black and white. That's one that people track on tagged, and also it has a lot of meaning here, because every once in a while you get that black and white image out of a set, and sometimes it can be really powerful. So maybe black and white is a tag that you want to add, and also a tag maybe you want to see when other people get those goodies too. So I'm thinking that basically we could have like a set of curated tags. The other thing also is that tags could be used as a way of creating galleries or a series. So that was one thing that I think you mentioned before, Joel, that you wanted to see explored, was how can people kind of create like a board or a gallery of work. And I was thinking we could, if we have a really good interaction for being able to tag a lot of posts at once, that having, that tag, like an artist's one person, filtered to one person, their use of a tag would be a way of them creating a gallery. And then we could do features. So that was something I was talking about a bit here. Feature banner. I don't know if I was explaining this before you showed up, but when I was at Write On, I worked on a team called Write On at Amazon, which was a social network for writers. And our primary objective was to grow the community by increasing engagement and converting people from sort of passive visitors to the site to people who are actively engaging. And the primary driver of this, which we tracked this in metrics, and the primary thing that we saw increase engagement in the community was the implementation. It was one of the first things I worked on. There was a feature banner that allowed us to sort of promote if an artist was doing, a writer in this case, was doing something unique or interesting, we would use that space to showcase their work right at the top of, in our case, maybe the top of trending. Atrocity speaking. Actually, black and white brings up a new question that isn't directly UI based. Is it possible to automate tag creation? Obviously, black and white would be easy, just check saturation, but I feel like machine generated tags would pose an interesting challenge should they be restricted to machine made only, or be suggestions or something. Yeah, suggestions. That was something I was thinking of. I did a brainstorm previously where I was trying to write down all of the things I could do with machine learning, and I was thinking of basically suggested tags as a potential thing, because that's one thing that machine learning can do, is it can look at a tag and say, oh, a tag appears to be a dog, or this tag appears to be a person. Obviously, for profiles, we wouldn't want to suggest person. That would drive us crazy. But anyway, you're saying, I suppose that's just another form of curation, just a really crude one. But yeah, I think that would be something that'd be interesting for us to suggest. Common. We can maybe know if we have these common or curated tags, and we had machine learning to be able to serve those up. That could be to serve them up as likely options. That would be one way that we could sort of grease the skids to get more tagging happening on the community. But anyway, the one idea that I want to make sure I throw out there before I should probably, it's getting late. I was gonna crack open Xcode and maybe just make a little bit of headway there before I go. But the one idea I wanted to throw out there while you guys are here, that maybe riff on or think of other ways to approach. But it's the whole idea of how you promote of being able to promote something, right? That on Tumblr, I used to use the tags as a way to promote something because I knew that there were people that would see that. There was a page where if you went to black and white, you would see this if you were looking at all. And then because there was the curated view of it, there were people basically whose job at Tumblr was to watch the black and white all feed and curate it and pull out the best of stuff and put that into a section. And it allowed Tumblr to sort of create a higher quality view that also allowed them to help people who are doing good work get discovered. So I think that was one thing that like when you were posting, you were always sort of bidding for recognition, bidding for the potential to get discovered. And like I had one time where I posted something that it got featured in one of their special. At this point, they developed it to where there was a side banner, and they would promote something on the side. And I got something that got this exclusive feature, and like I think I gained like 5,000 followers in a single day, and it was like really crazy. And after, even if the features, if you didn't have like that big of a like they had obviously a huge audience to do that, but even with like smaller numbers, if you could just get somebody to have like a boost of gaining 10 followers or something, seeing that can happen, it gives you sort of that motivation to keep coming back, to keep posting, to be thoughtful in your work, and to be tagging your work intentionally in a way that's gonna, because essentially the tagging, I think, is really how you can sort of connect meaningfully with how what other people, intents that other people have for the work. So the tag is sort of a way of describing your intent, and it helps you to connect with people. But then what I was thinking was, so like when you like a post, that's a way that you push things to the all feed. And when you like one of your own posts, I mean, that's the way of pushing things to the all feed. And when you tag a post, that's a way of pushing it to another more specific feed. So those are two forms of publishing or promoting a post. But then what I was thinking might be interesting is if we made it so you got the ability, like you have a credit, like maybe you might get 50 credits a week or something, or maybe it's 10 credits a week, because maybe we don't want people doing this too heavily, but basically you have the ability, because essentially what's happening right now is when people make a post, you might be up in the middle of the night, me being over here on the West Coast, if I post something, kind of late at night, I'm on sort of like the shadow of the earth where everyone else around the world is pretty likely to miss it. So, and because things are sort of in a stream, you put something out there and it falls away. If people don't see it, they miss it. And there's no way really for people to discover that because it's just constantly falling away, which is how things stay fresh on there. But if you allowed people to have a limited number of ways to promote, to bump something to the top of the all feed, or to bump things into the top of the a tagged view, that would be one way that you could, give people a way to, give them a commodity of value that comes with the subscriptions, which could also sort of drive more engagement and give people a little bit more control over how they sort of send out signal or influence in the community. So anyway, that's sort of a long-winded thing. I think this concept from this conversation, you can see this doesn't necessarily mix with that. I can see, and maybe these aren't. Maybe these two particular aren't the right ones. So basically, the equivalent of a promoted search result. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Is it'd be interesting to have the ability to promote in a finite way. Definitely not just people. You don't want people in there just constantly promoting stuff and spamming it, but in a very limited way doing it. So basically, equivalent of promoted search, like being able to bump it onto a separate, shorter queue. Yeah. Oh wow, Twitch is glitching out. Restarting again. Oh, sorry if there are problems out there. Let me see. Let me take a look. Sometimes I think Streamlabs will let me know if I'm having problems. Let me know if the problems are persisting. You probably can't see me right now saying that, but Joel or Catlin, if you're still there, let me know if you're experiencing any issues with the connection. I don't know how much I can do about it, but I can take a look at it. No issues. Okay. So this is, I'd say I've made some progress here, and I got some of your thoughts on it. If you have more thoughts about what I was discussing here, if there's something I was saying stood out to you, please post. You could post it to the Discord. Is probably a good way to keep the conversation open for everybody who's involved under maybe the UI design. But yeah, if you have more thoughts on this, I saw your comments earlier. I'll see if I can maybe save this log or something so I don't lose it. But yeah, I have to think more about the promoted queue. You can chat more in Discord. Yeah, cool. I especially want to think of I left it out of this here, but under the, what is it? I was thinking of this design objective in particular. I was thinking of there's what's called the pirate model for metrics. Let's see, what do you think the different reactions should be? Yeah, I'm not sure. I was starting with these, and I think based on what you were saying, like wow, I hadn't thought of like wow can be kind of a way. I kind of think of wow as like potentially it would be. I was thinking of wow as being like you could say. Like maybe your reaction to the post is negative, but it was strong. It's a way that you could sort of tell them, like they could take it as awe, but it might just be that you were shocked or that it scared you. Sometimes some people seem to be trying to come up with scary things on there, and if that's what they're going for, they're probably not going to mind wow as a reaction. But I was picturing it as being potentially. I'd initially started with the idea of they're essentially, psychiatrists or psychologists have determined there are like 4 basic emotions. There's joy, sadness, there's fear, or really it's shock. I think essentially fear is the same, and then anger I think is usually 1 too. I guess. Wait, is that 4? Wait, I had them written down here. Joy, sadness, fear. And I'm using, so I'm using awe as a replacement for anger. Because if you think about it, awe, well, I don't know, maybe that's not right. Like fear and awe are maybe kind of similar. I think anger is actually the one that I'm trying to move out, and awe really is a bit more like fear. But in any case, they're the 4 basic emotions. And I was thinking, like the essence of art, if you read like the book, like Tolstoy's What is Art? He says that essentially art is any medium by which somebody conveys an emotional experience that they've had to other people, where essentially the thing that's being transmitted is emotion, and the medium is using some sort of story, experience, or basically artistic expression to convey that emotion. So going on that art theory, that theory of what art is, and obviously not everyone buys into that definition of art necessarily. But if you did buy into that, the idea would be by sort of reacting to art with a recognition of the emotion that it made you feel, I think that would potentially reinforce the nature of the artistic objective of art reader, right? Like sometimes people use art to do things that aren't necessarily conveying emotions. But I think the value of art, like the more emotive it is, the more that it would be sort of reinforcing the community doing art, and it would help people maybe sort of to strive toward that, I think, which is a very high objective of conveying emotion in art. So I don't know, that's the thing I was thinking, but immediately I thought, well, depending on the icon, people could misuse it or misinterpret it. So I don't know if it's necessarily, it takes some iteration to get that right. Well put, agreed. Oh, cool. Yeah, I definitely recommend, if you haven't read Tolstoy's What is Art, it's a pretty short read, and I've read it a few times. I really think it's an important work. I'm a pretty big fan of Tolstoy's though, so. Okay, so yeah, we've explored quite a bit here, but yeah, the equivalent of this would be like heart is sort of like for joy. I just added this as keep, which is different. Oh, cool. I'll check it out. Thanks. I have to head out in a minute. Okay, well, I've got to go to bed here pretty soon too. The one thing I want to start on before I call it a night is I am. Let's see. I was starting an actual app, and I want to do that on stream. Part of my goal with the stream, one, is to share the creative process and to collaborate with people live here and to involve the community in building this. I think it's important when you're creating an app to not do it in isolation, but do as close to the users as possible. Shoot, I'm not finding I had a playground that I just. Let me go over here. It's under downloads, I think. Date added. I thought I just. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got this here. So I started a playground for just testing out the code that you sent me, Joel. But yeah, so part of what I'm here to do, I'm getting kind of tired right now, steam myself. It doesn't recognize this. I better drag it onto there. Maybe they don't recognize it. Oh no. Okay. Well, as should be expected, I tried to code on stream and I was punished for it. In the past, I'd learned the lesson that you really want to kind of test out and try your code before you do it on stream, because you always end up with errors and it's pretty complex to do while you're talking. So yeah. All right. Good night. Thanks for joining. I really appreciated you being here and getting to discuss this stuff with you on stream. Thanks for all your work on Artbreeder. Hope you get some rest and don't stress out too much working on it. Get a chance to take a break and don't feel so sick. You get a chance to recover. So, good night. And I think I'm going to wrap this up here too, because I didn't get my playground to open, so I can't code there. But I think we accomplished quite a bit tonight. I really appreciate everyone jumping on the stream, and that raid earlier was great. Tikiwan, we got to do a solve, Rubik's Cube solve. So it's almost like the classic thing. Actually, you know what I think I may do? Because what I would probably do after I go off stream anyway is art breed. So I'm gonna just art breed for a bit, and then we'll call it a night. So for everyone that's still hanging out here, if you're interested, we're gonna do a little bit of this. You can see I like to work in series. So you can see this is a series of sort of golden light things, semi-abstract. It was sort of based on something that this is building on what somebody else has started around something that I took to be kind of a sun, and so I created some from those. Let me see. I'm going to go ahead and zoom up so we can see things a little bit close, a little bit larger. Doesn't need to be quite that big. Maybe a little bigger. I don't know. So no, that's too big. So then I also do I do a lot of landscapes. You can do series in different ways. In this case, I'm just exploring. This was just different landscapes. But you can also do like a series in a common style. Like I could do a bunch of them like this, kind of like this, sort of like, looks like kind of a black and white oil painting type thing that comes up. And it's sort of landscape-like. Really like that style. It's this one. Looks like there's kind of a dog in the foreground. So what you do basically, art breeding for anyone who hasn't seen it, and you can, if you have seen it, you can just follow along and see. Maybe you might learn a bit about my process. I'd love to hear about how you do things different. I can see everyone has a different method, a different approach. But one way, the most sort of fundamental core way to breed art is to basically just, you hit this button and it gives you 6 images. You gotta be careful to not hit this button too fast because you can miss something. You want to take a moment, you want to give yourself a moment to take them in and see which one of these really speaks to you. So this one kind of speaks to me. It's a little close to that one, but there's more of these what look kind of like legs going on here. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Maybe they could be some sort of flock of animals or something. But yeah, so I just kind of look over them and try to pick out the ones I like. These kind of look a little bit like maybe trees with snow on them. So I kind of look at them. I'm looking for, something that speaks to me. Something that kind of, sometimes something will have a particular glow to it. Sometimes it's an aesthetic quality that stands out to me. Sometimes it's just, there's like an idea in the image. I'll keep it because an image might have make me feel like I'm looking into a window into an alternate universe, and I might be seeing like a moment in a story or something. And so I'll keep those because I kind of collect those. I have if you're not in the Subcreation Discord, let me see if my bot is still working. I think I can say Discord, and it'll share my. It looks like my bot may have broken. So I'll, in a second, maybe before I go, I'll share out that if anybody wants that. But in my Discord, I actually have a place where it's called GAN Journal, I think. And what I do is I write stories that are inspired by collections of images that I find. And I actually have a continuous one, like it's in working in series, or it's like a series of essentially very short. They're extremely short stories. Okay, so this one I'm kind of losing interest in this, so I'm going to go back and try. Let's just try going to create. Actually, one thing I also try to do is I'm doing 2 things here. I'm working in series where I want to do a collection of images, a gallery of images that are related enough, because eventually I'd like to print up a bunch of these images and show them like in galleries. And so I make them in series because I'd like to have, and I'm working in series because I'd like to have a number of images that you could do at a show. So that's one thing I'm doing here. I usually do them in sets of 6, just because I'm a little bit obsessive compulsive about this view. It normally is 6 across, and so I like it to be in rows. And so I'll do, if I go over 6, then I'll take it to 12. If I go over 12, I take it to 18, so that I always have these things in rows. And so what I have here, there's this kind of a abstract cat, sort of an alien cat, abstract / energy creature or underwater creature. So I just have much. Sometimes I'll like, this was sort of a short series, and I just went ahead and finished it off with abstract. So I'm not always really strict about doing a whole series. It depends on, what is really speaking to me into the collection that I'm finding. But sometimes what I do, and what I'm doing here, is I take one image, particularly in a portrait. This works well. Because you can do style transfer with portraits. So I'll find one portrait that I really like, and then I just go and find a bunch of really interesting styles and transfer those styles to that image. So this kind of is an interesting collection of different interpretations of the same. It's not necessarily the same face, because you can see a lot of things like ethnicity tends to change. Ethnicity appears to be attached to style, which I wouldn't have expected, but it's interesting. Another thing I found is attached to style is the direction of the eyes. So you can see that this one here, her eyes are looking very far off camera. And you can see in these other ones, she's starting to look forward a little bit more. Oops, I lost my place. But you can see in some of these, like in this case, she's making eye contact. Whereas in that one, she's looking to the side. A lot of these, she's making eye contact. And in some of them, she's looking just beyond the camera. So it's interesting that according to the GANs, what it's decided through its training is that what's happening in the eyes is a part of the style of the image and not a part of the subject. So that's interesting. Something you kind of have to learn those little details about it, because oftentimes it's what's happening in the eyes that will really get my attention in an image. It's like something about what they're feeling, what they seem to be feeling, or something that they're transmitting, that the character in the image is transmitting to the viewer. And so if you just need to know that transferring style may disrupt that. It also means that you can, if you have something like this is a very strong eye contact image, you can take this image and transfer that style to other images, and you can get other characters that may have this sort of dreamy, wistful, or not present look to them, and you can suddenly get this very intense connection with the subject. So that's really worth being aware of, because essentially in any image I'm looking for something that connects with me, something that makes me feel something that makes me something that it has to either be the basis of an idea for a future work. So a lot of characters, sometimes I'm doing these just for the aesthetic quality. Sometimes I'm doing it because maybe this looks like a character in a story that I would want to write. So like I have a collection of these on the wall. I'm probably gonna start putting up landscapes here, because I think my whole point putting these up on the wall, which you can't see. I guess I could show you really quick here. Oh, but it's gonna be out of it's gonna be out of focus, so I shouldn't. I won't try to show that. Everything will be out of focus, and I ruin the focus. But I have these all up on my wall because this is a part of my process for living with the art, feeling what sort of stands up over time versus what just kind of got a reaction when I first saw it. And I go over these walls, and I take these pictures down when I start to kind of tire of some of them, and I put new images up, and I move the images that speak to me the most over to that part of the wall, over to that part of the wall. So I'm kind of constantly curating the best of my stuff here. And someday I'd like to take some of these and either present them at an art walk or at a gallery if I could get to such a place. But with the people, I have them the people collected over here, and what I do with that is I think the idea of having those up isn't so much because it doesn't really make sense to curate images of people, and I guess people do that in fashion. But more my interest in it is, and a lot of my interest in a lot of the GAN Breeder stuff, besides just like a piece of art that you would put on the wall, is a glimpse into a world that inspires a story. So those are sort of I have a number of sort of overlapping purposes in it, and finding the images that evoke a story is one of them, and finding and the portraits are one of those. Stories are based around characters, and so the reason that I put it up is because if I was sitting here trying to write a short story, I could sit there and I could look at the characters, and you know, I might look at a character and think, oh, okay, this probably easier to see in the ones that I actually have in my downloads. So if we go to the downloads, you can see these are the ones I actually have printed that are up on my wall. Oh, but you know what? This doesn't include the newer portraits because I didn't download those. I used those through a separate upscaler. Okay. So anyway, the point is that if you're looking at these, you get the idea with these groups of portraits here. If I go down to here where I have more variety of portraits, you could sit here and look at this portrait. You could start to think like, okay, you know, this person, you know, it's sort of like, you know, like you might, if you were like people watching in a mall, you sort of look at them and be like, okay, what's this guy's story? Okay, well, you know, he's let's see, this guy, he works, you know, maybe he works at a police department, maybe he's a detective. You know, you just start making up these stories and you know, sort of building these characters, and it's a prompt. The image is a prompt to help you, you know, build these things. So that's one way to use it. So anyway, and then the landscapes, I tend to just generate lots of them, mostly aesthetically, and then sometimes I do these really abstract things, which are more about just exploring art. And then of course there are the things that are more, this is like essentially a meme on Artbreeder that I like to develop. And Crazy Creatures is another meme I like to develop. My daughter wanted to create a cat flower. When she saw the cat or the dog flower, she immediately thought we needed a cat flower, and so this was our best effort to make that. And then she wanted a cat dog, so we made that. And then I started, that just kind of led into doing a series of alien animals. And alien animals is a thing, a concept. I've got a tag for it. It's something that I sometimes do. And then these are more of these like abstract painting style ones, which in this case I'm really just going for something that evokes a feeling. So that's the sort of thing I do, and so I'm going to continue doing that now, selecting and doing some in series. Last thing we did was abstract. Before that it was okay, there's people. So I kind of like to mix it up and make sure I do a little bit of each thing. I feel like what I haven't done recently is portraits, so I'm going to go ahead. Oh, actually, no, it would be kind of fun. I recently uploaded myself as a portrait. Previously, I'd uploaded, these are Russell Stewart. Everyone's still here from the raid earlier that you might know Russell Stewart. I messaged him on Discord and asked for his permission to import some of his art on Artbreeder so I could transfer the style, and he said to go ahead and do it. And so you see some of these, this didn't work out quite like the original, but it was interesting, and I started transferring styles from his art to Gambreeder. This is one I uploaded, I haven't used yet, but I uploaded, this is myself, and you can see it's interesting. It makes people that look kind of like me but kind of different. So that's interesting. That's fun. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom down a little bit so we can see anything we collect. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, so one thing that's interesting about this is you can actually go into editing genes. Oh shoot. I had not necessarily wanted to make these private or public yet. I mean, everyone here can see it, but I don't know. Making copies of myself is a little weird. I don't know if I would want one of these to get, into trending, if it, not that it would, but what's cool here is you can go into genes and tweak them. So I do a lot of stuff like that. So you can try making the eyes bigger. So that's interesting. It doesn't necessarily look unlike me. Kind of. No, the eyes are changing quite a bit. The more that you mess with it, the less that it'll look like you or the subject. I wonder how it is interpreting the style. Okay. Let me erase that. Oh, I'm getting eyeglasses showing up, so we have to take that down. And yeah, the smile isn't that far off. The hair is different. The ears are obviously staying about right. Let's see what else do I do. So eyes open is always interesting. De-age could be interesting. That is interesting. I can also do aging. Oh, scary. Okay, so let's see, what else could we do here? Let's see. What else should we do? Doesn't look that much like me, I don't think, anymore. Oh, I can make myself more happy. It's interesting when you add up these different these different emotions, you get a lot more. If you make like high sad here, like it's weird because smiling is separate from. All right, that's just a little bit scary. I'm gonna hit reset. Okay, so what can I do with this? Would be interesting. I'm gonna try a little bit of eyeglasses. Could be interesting. You take up. Sometimes if it's too ugly, usually adding a little bit of concept art to it will sort of sort it out. See, that's looking a little bit better. There we go. I can just go ahead and add a beard to it. Or make it more masculine. Whoa, too much. All right, go ahead and do that. I'm gonna erase the glasses, erase the beard, but just see what it's like to go more masculine. It's interesting that you get a beard from going more masculine, but you get a lot more beard from adding beard. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that down a bit. So that's interesting. All right, and I'm going to, oh, you know what? I forgot I didn't want these to be live necessarily. So I gotta go in here and hide these. Okay. What I need to do is go up here and go in private mode. Oh, that's kind of interesting. Not because I don't necessarily want anyone to see it, but because I'm not sure I necessarily want people to iterate on it yet. Because it's me. Okay, so I'm going to go into edit genes. Oh, and here's what could be interesting. Go the opposite way with gender. Let's see, so everything else is... So that apparently would be a female me. That's interesting. I don't know if that is what a female me would look like, but maybe. Okay, so eyes open are kind of important because I had kind of narrow eyes there. Go up. Sometimes taking glasses down will kind of help. No, that's getting weird. Maybe de-aging a little bit. Oh, and so you can also adjust the face shape. That can do a lot. Especially if you're trying to make a figure, if you're trying to make something more attractive. Usually increasing the height and decreasing the width helps a bit. Like I said before, the concept art going down will make it more. Oh, actually, this is one. Interestingly, this one seems to be getting a little bit better by taking concept down. Usually, taking concept down, I think, tends to make it uglier. What else could we do? A little bit of a smile, maybe. And then usually what happens if you tweak the genes, you're going to want to, after you tweak genes, you're going to want to do a bit of just breeding like this, because it'll kind of clean up. There's weirdness that happens as you mess with the genes, and that definitely, if you basically if you breed from it, it improves a lot of the qualities of it, because it's kind of mixing qualities of that image with it mixes qualities of that image with sort of like a new. It's like it's creating a new image, so it's sort of creating a cleaner image. So anyway, that's interesting. It's kind of creepy. I don't like the female me. So I'm going to go back. See, that's why this has to be private mode. That's weirding me out. That one's kind of interesting. So you can see it does these things where it kind of, when it breeds off of it, kind of cleans it up a bit. Some of it is how it's mixing. And well, the other thing you can do is also, obviously, different gives you more variety. It is really weird seeing the female ones generated from the image I provided for me. Oh, this one's kind of interesting. This kind of reminds me of once I was walking down the street and somebody started yelling, what was it, McEnroe? I guess is a tennis player. They thought I looked just like McEnroe. This reminds me a little bit of what McEnroe looks like now, and this was generated from the image I uploaded, so that's interesting. Okay, so that's enough of that. I don't want to. Oh, the other thing I was about doing is the whole crossbreeding. I'll go back to the original image. Let me just go to my profile. Go to the original image. Actually, I'm just going to go up one. This image does not exist or has been made private. Oh, am I logged out? Somehow I got logged out. Alright, so I'm just going to go back to my created. And I'm going to go up one level to that. Oh, apparently it signs me out when I... No, my image has been... So if I just go to create and I go to upload, there we go, there it is. So what I want to do now is, oh, it's kind of interesting. I'm going to, oh, I did it again. I really don't want to share these yet. This is weird. I just uploaded this yesterday and I hadn't tried breeding with it before. So this is the first time I've done it, and it's really weirding me out. So I'm going to go to trending. And so what you can do is pick an image, keep the face, and transfer the style. So that is interesting. So I'm going to go into private mode so I can save this. And the idea is to work in series, so I'm going to just take this portrait, but I'm going to apply different photos to it. How am I on time? Oh, it's getting toward midnight, so I better I better call this a day pretty soon. We'll take this one, right? Because you kind of want to work with images that are sort of similar in style quality, I've found anyway. Like a photographic image is going to transfer style to a photographic style, a realistic image better than it will a painted image. So let's see if I can. Let's see. I don't remember if gender shouldn't be included in style. I think. Let me see how this works. Oh, okay, yeah. So it did preserve the. It did preserve this style of image. Okay, and it did preserve the gender properly. I mean. But let's see like what happens if we choose a very painterly style. Yeah, so you see what happened is that because I'm transferring style, but the face is realistic. The style, it kind of gets mutilated by the realism. So if you want to mix with the style like this, what you need to do actually is first go here and then go into Edit Genes, and then you're going to crank up Concept. So now that this is a concept image, I save it like that, and I go into here, and so now, and you can see it's giving me, this is like that step of correction I was talking about, where how when the images, when it creates children, you can see like there's something a little bit off about this. It's like a little fuzzy here. I'm getting that sundog there. That's actually part of the art. That's hard to get rid of when you get these. I call them sundogs. But yeah, it's a little, something about this is like a little fuzzy. It's a little off, and I think that's because I've been tweaking the genes. But this image that was created right here is pretty close in style, but it's a little bit more detailed. It's because I kind of think of it as like, when you're tweaking the genes, you're taking control, right? Like I actually kind of picture it like you're working with a, like I imagine the GANs as sort of virtual artists. You know, these they're like almost like people living inside the computer whose only job is to create art for you. And I know I'm what's the word? Anthropomorphizing them, but also, you know, what are humans other than neural networks? So I'm not entirely sure that they don't qualify as a kind of people. And so what I imagine them doing is, it's like when I select an image, I'm saying, okay, like this, but give me some variations on it. And this slider is basically telling you your signal to them, where you, in this case, you're saying, just give me medium variations on it. If you drag this over to similar, you're saying, I want more variations, but get closer to this reference. And when you drag this over to the right, you get more different, like a lot more variation. You're saying, mix it up, give me a lot more, give me more variety around this. So if you go too far to the left, you don't get much change. And if you go too far to the right, you'll get too much change. These two are kind of interesting. I'm keeping some of these because I might end up crossing them with other images to see if that quality that's interesting in them will carry across later. I don't like them as they are because it's weird seeing. But anyway, so this, but when you're in the middle, sometimes you'll get these, like this one in particular, I think looks very close to it, but the details that filled in, that it changed, are quite different. Actually, I like this one right here. It looks more like a painting. It's adding more interesting things to it. And now, because it's getting to be more of a painting, and this way it got to be a painting on its own, sort of naturally through breeding, and not by propping up the concept. But you can go in here and pitch up the concept a little bit. So I'm going to basically do one more pass on this. I'm going to take the concept up a bit, save that, go back out here, and then breed some more. Breed children. And as you're breeding children, see, this one has a little bit more style to it, something a little more interesting in this. There's a little bit more, it's maybe the texture there, there's like kind of a strong side light. So this one's getting more interesting, and so I took this one. But now I have this one. What I'm going to do is I can go and I can crossbreed it with any of these. Usually I don't find good ones. I have better ones, I think, either in trending or in my own starred. In fact, since I just collected a bunch of styles on this one portrait, I can just do it with this one. So I take this one, I take this face, and I apply this style to it. And see, now that I think is really interesting. So I'm going to save that one, and I'm going to reset. I think I might want to start sharing these. I think I've gotten far enough away from myself yeah, I think I'm okay with sharing these. So I'm going to, first I'm just going to go ahead and make that public. I'm going to go ahead and stop private mode and go back to this one. And I'm going to go to crossbreed. So we're just going to go ahead and finish one series. I'm going to do maybe 6 or 12 images, depending on what I find is interesting. And I'm just going to, this is kind of, depending on how much time or effort you can give something, sometimes I just kind of mindlessly go in and do style transfers to quickly create a bunch of variations. I mean, the essence of creating art here and being creative here is you don't want to get stuck on trying to make a perfect thing. You want to create lots and lots of stuff, because being prolific is what leads to great art. There's such a chance of quality to art. I mean, you do want to develop skill and capability so you have enough control to sort of steer things and to make things that are meaningful to you and convey emotion and interest to your audience. But but your best chance of doing that is to just do a lot of art, to make lots and lots of art. And that's that's why I think that Artbreeder is such a real breakthrough tool for artists. I think goes way beyond anything you would do with Photoshop or even like photography. If you think about like what artists were doing in the years before photography came out, there were so many artists who were spending all of their time and effort trying to create, almost photoreal portraits, because that was they were trying to capture the likeness, and capturing a likeness is something that a camera, as it turns out, when the camera's invented, can do so much better than an artist. Even an artist who dedicates their entire life to doing realistically, it's easier to do now because we have more tools at our disposal. So I think it's probably easier to do now than it was then. But there were some great masters of art back then that made photorealistic art, but they had to dedicate their entire life to come up with that ability. And then once photographs came out, when photography was invented, there were a lot of artists who were really disillusioned by that. They'd spent their whole life developing this ability, and then this machine came along that did what they were doing so much better. It's almost like, like there was a time when aluminum was worth more than platinum. And when they found a process for creating aluminum, where previously it had to be found in the wild, when that happened, they suddenly the aluminum market tanked overnight. It was because there was going to be a huge influx of this, and so it's no longer valuable. And that happens to artists. You spend all of your time, all of your life going after this one particular thing, and technology can disrupt that. And the trick, this has been happening my whole career. I was an artist, even though I was familiar with photography. I just, for whatever reason, felt like it was, when I was younger, I felt like capturing the essence of an image, of a likeness, was the thing I was interested in. And I worked really hard to make photoreal images. And then one day, the thing that broke me of that wasn't photography, because I was able to use photography to achieve that. I could take a photo or find a photo and then have that moment frozen in time so I could better recreate it. But I didn't think of what I was doing as photocopying, because, you know, the slight variation that you have, there's a slight quality to it that makes a photo more interesting. Also, it's just an exercise that you do that develops your spatial awareness as an artist, so it's important to do anyway. But at one point, I started using Photoshop, and I don't think this one's going to work, but I'm just going to start applying these while I'm talking. Yeah, we got the running mascara thing, which I don't dig so much on either the females or the masculine figures, but there we go. That's interesting. I like that. So anyway, what I was saying is that the first time I encountered, so I started using Photoshop, and I got excited because it gave me a lot of new capability, and I started using it and figuring out how to use it to manipulate images, and I started learning how to draw in it and to paint in it. And I didn't get very far into painting in it when I started to realize that I could zoom all the way in, see all of the pixels, and copy pixel for pixel. And at first I did that with the pencil tool, and I was like, oh, okay, this is going to take forever. And then I started to realize, wait, this is a huge waste of time, because I could just select, rather than sitting there copying each pixel individually, I could select a whole batch of pixels and paste it. And that moment when I first did that, where I was copying the pixels one at a time, and suddenly realized that I would achieve my objective much quicker if I simply copied and pasted the image. All of a sudden I realized, oh, that's all I'm doing is copying and pasting. And so that kind of disillusioned me from creating art for a while. I thought, wait, why would I do this? Why would I spend time doing this when the computer can do it instantly? And so then I kind of stopped drawing for a while, like that one. And then what I did instead was, eventually when I came back into drawing, I focused, instead of focusing on creating realistic photos, I focused more on the style, and I focused on the form, being able to hold an image that I was seeing in front of me sort of in my head, and being able to sort of rotate it so I could draw it, like retain it and be able to draw it. I'm not digging this one so much. And then eventually, not so good. Eventually I got back to kind of where I kind of try to practice both approaches and bring them together. But anyway, all that is to say, I'd expect that somebody, especially if I was just starting with art like that, if this was like I think that was when I was about 17 that I had that experience of discovering that Photoshop could do what I was doing so much better, so much faster, that I started, I had that moment when I was 17, and it sort of disrupted my approach to art, but ultimately I think reinvented and improved it. But I'd say, if I hadn't already been through that sort of level of disillusionment, I'd be experiencing that now with Art Breeder. I'd be looking at this and saying, well, why would I paint, all of these people if the computer can just, generate them so fast and so much better? Like I can't, it would take me, months and months to develop, the painting style like this. Like I think I could do it. I could put the time in. And I think I could get pretty close. I'd probably have a slightly different quality, because each artist is a little different. I'm not saying I would try to develop this exact style, but I'm saying to come up with a style like this and to work in that style would take some time. and effort, and having the computer be able to do that for me so quick, to me that just frees me up to explore and to do more and more. So yeah, what I usually do is I generate a bunch of these images, and did I do this one already? I forget. I feel like that might have been the first one I did. Oh no, I did this to my own earlier. Okay. So so what I do is I just create lots and lots of these, and eventually, once I have a bunch of them, I go over them and I kind of give them a second look and pick out the ones that speak to me the most. I actually do like that one. The pink in the eyes is a little weird. It kind of looks a little bit, didn't look that way as much with her, but on that one, it looks a little like a little gross, a little bit like there's like a pink eye. So maybe that one would work. Wait, I just did that one. Okay, which one? Oh no, these two are similar. Oh, I transferred the style from this one to that one. So it's the same style. All right, this is the last one I think I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna go through and pick out a few, because that's how it roll. Okay, that's interesting. Didn't realize how youthful. So it's interesting, the same things that get baked into style. So obviously ethnicity is a part of the style, and I'd say the eyes and part of the expression is baked into the style. And then the other thing is it looks like age is a part of the style too. Joel, the creator of Art of Gambreaker, was on here earlier, and he said that he's currently retraining the GANs that do profiles, or do not profiles, that do the yeah, I'm too tired, I've got to get to bed, but let me just pick out a few of these here. But he's retraining these, and he's trying to separate out ethnicity, and there's something else I forget, but so he's going to be improving the genes for these, which will hopefully give us some more control, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to pick these out. I like this one. There's something about this expression and the tone that's interesting. The eyes. So I can say that one. This one, I'm not sure. It looks a little bit like a watercolor wash, so I like that. But there's something about the expression and the mouth that I don't like so much. Reminds me a little bit of fashion art, which I'm not so into. This one's interesting. I like that one. So what I do is I look at it and I just try to, I'm doing my assessment right now of each one. I like that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm counting to make sure that the number that I hit 5, 6. So I don't have enough to go to 12. So I've got to pick 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's down to definitely this one. It's either between this one or that one or that one. Sometimes it helps to look at the profile and see, since I've got 6. I'm already at 6. Okay. So there it is. That's how. So I work it in series, create sets like this. In this case, I did the technique I showed you before, where I just take one face that I like, and I apply styles to it. So that's one way of doing this. And I have different techniques for creating these different sets. The landscapes are the ones that I tend to just go into. Maybe I'll create some of the landscapes for you real quick, because you can do these pretty quick. And if I'm honest, I'm just going to get off of the stream and GAN breed some more if I don't do landscapes. So I better just go ahead. So this one is kind of interesting. I like this one and that one. And let me pick that one. And so it's kind of just exploring and navigating the space. I think the thing that is a little bit interesting about this one is that the tree is kind of creating a point of interest and weighting things to the right. So, and you have this road that kind of like leads up to, it looks like it leads up to and then curves by the tree, but that kind of creates some motion in the image. It's a little bit interesting. It's not great, but it's interesting. So I'm going to say I like this one because it has more of that road, and I like this one because it has the tree is a little bit better contained. I'm not so crazy about those clouds. So I'm just going to explore some more and see what I find. Didn't like anything there. So oftentimes I'm looking for things like, I'm basically just judging the composition just like I would if I was doing photography. I've done some photography. So here we do have that curved road that appears to be happening right there, which is interesting. We have a hill here. This kind of reminds me of Centralia, which is an area. I was born near Centralia. It reminds me a bit of things out there, or maybe Monroe. I grew up a bit out in Monroe, sort of rural parts of Washington. Okay, this is getting a little boring. This one's getting a little bit better, though. Actually, this is a little bit fuller, and it has those two qualities I like. So I'd say I found this one, and I like that. And I'm going to go back up several steps. All right, this one is interesting. This appears to be some sort of like an alien planet. Maybe they have towers. This might be towers or some sort of ancient structures that are falling apart. I like this one because it has kind of looks like this looks like some sort of war scene. Like these might have been buildings after some sort of war. This one's interesting. So I'm kind of looking for like what's telling me a story. What invokes a story. This one is similar to the other one, but it's a little bit more. It looks more like a ghost town than a post-war scene. This one's interesting because I almost saw like a tank in there before. I don't know if it still is a tank, but also because it's black and white, it creates some more visual interest. I think because that's not quite a tank. And in landscapes, sometimes in abstracts, it's interesting if you find things that look like nonsense but look like photos. But I don't find that as interesting in a landscape. In landscapes, I kind of want it because GANs are so good at creating natural scenery like rocks. I mean, for a computer, it's not that hard to make. Typically, it's not that hard for it to make clouds and waves and stuff. And so it seems like GANs really run with them as well. But when they start to make nonsense, I don't know. I'm looking for stuff that makes sense here in landscapes typically. So I remember I'm going till 6, and I think I chose 2. The series has 6 in it. My series do. This is interesting. We might get some sort of aurora borealis effect in here. Or just this one right here. This is interesting. And so I'm mostly just looking for like, what's the thing that if I was out doing photography, would I take that picture? You know. In fact, this is actually a really remarkable thing to be able to do because if you think about what a photographer has to do, it's the same thing as paintings. But it's a lot of work to go out into the wilderness and to find pictures like this. This is interesting because it's kind of borderline between feeling like a natural photograph and being fantasy art. And that is something that interests me. Fantasy art and photos can be interesting. Oh, and the other thing I can do, let me see where I am so I think I'm at 3. no, I'm at 4. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick from a couple of images that I already have, and I'm going to do some crossbreeding to get there. So what I'll do is you choose the content from this one, and then apply the style from that one. See what you get. That's interesting. And then similar to messing with genes, it can be useful after you do that to go ahead and do some breeding to land on something more interesting. But this is getting a little boring quick. I might have chosen the bad. Okay, now I'm gonna just keep this and I'm gonna go ahead and crossbreed again because it's gotten too boring. Let's see, what would be interesting? This is definitely interesting. This is one of mine, but it's too. I'll go ahead and give this a shot. This content with this style. I'm not digging it. Let's try this content with this style. That's interesting, but not as good as the source. So why do that, right? I wonder if this is the same style as the last one. No, it's a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and save that one. But I'm not necessarily gonna like it. It might just be a stepping stone. I'm gonna try adding this to there. No, boring. This one's good. Let's try this. That. Huh. Not doing much. This whole thing is just not speaking to me. Let's go to random. Take that one. Let me go ahead and crossbreed it. Not with that one. Doesn't seem like it did it. Okay, it did. I see. Let's see. See if it's not as good as either of the source. It's not worth keeping. So that's one thing about this approach. If you're doing crossbreeding, sometimes you get a lot of really interesting stuff, and sometimes it's a lot of work and you don't get much. So I'm going to go ahead and just crank up different if you're not finding much. Sometimes just cranking up different and going through it quickly will help you get somewhere, find something interesting. This one's kind of interesting. I'll take that one. It's not that different from the other ones there, but the clouds are getting a little more interesting here. That one's kind of interesting. Like there's something going on here where like light seems to be hitting the foreground and it's the clouds you can see above there hitting the background. So there's something convincing about that I like, but no, this one is definitely better. All right, I'm gonna take this one and I'm just gonna do one last one, right? I'm at 5 now. I just need one more. I'm going to start with one like this. Sometimes it's better to work with one of your previous images as a starting point than to create from scratch. This is not looking much different. So I'm going to go ahead and crank up different because I'm looking for something different. Come on. So this has that interesting quality that I liked in the last image. I like that right there too. That there's something happening here where the sun is hitting this hillside and not hitting that. So there's something about that I like. This might be a slightly better version of it. This is getting a little bit more interesting. Not sure this one or that one. I think this one. So as you See, so you can kind of steer as you choose children that are interesting. You can kind of steer it into a more interesting space. And I think I've gone too far from the thing that I was finding interesting before. Could be this one, but I think I'm gonna go back. It's either this one. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, so that's it. There we got 6 more images in it. So that I would say is a stream. That's it for tonight. Thanks for joining. I think kind of whittled down to 5 people, so I don't know if, yeah, it might as well raid if you guys are down to stick around for a raid. It's kind of late though. It's after midnight. I can't really hang out if I do, so it's probably not bad. Might as well call it. Forget, how do I roll credits? I forget how to roll credits. Suppose I should figure this stuff out before I go live, huh? There was like some kind of command or something for rolling credits, but I don't see now. They've redesigned this tool too, so so I guess that's it. We're not going to be able to roll credits, and we're not going to be able to raid. But thanks for joining me. Had a blast designing an app with you guys and doing a bit of art breeding. And I hope you'll join me again. I haven't got a set schedule, so I'll just I'll just catch you guys later. And thanks for hanging out.